What's going on? 6 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Some good news for the Eagles heading into the Super Bowl as Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham has been designated for return from injured reserve. Graham has been sidelined since November with a torn tricep and has been hoping that the Eagles would reach the Super Bowl so he would have a chance to play. On the year, 3.5 sacks and a forced fumble for the Eagles defense. Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford reportedly plans to return to the 2025 NFL season amid contract and retirement speculation. Stafford, who is 36, will need to rework his deal to remain with the Rams as he's currently owed $27 million, none of which is guaranteed in 2025. And staffs keep coming together. Liam Cohen's staff in Jacksonville taking shape rather quickly as the Jaguars agree to terms with Anthony Campanelli as their new defensive coordinator. It's the first NFL defensive coaching job for Campanelli, who was most recently Green Bay's linebacking coach and running game coordinator. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Friday morning on RKW as your Friday on 104.5 The Zone starts right now. The full crew back together in studio. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, 615-737-1045 is the number. At long last, it's the final day of the longest month of the year, and we have got lots of Senior Bowl takeaways for you. Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Senior Bowl, joins us at 8:20 this morning, plus our normal Tennessee guests on a Friday. Brent Hubbs at 7:20, Ron Slay at 9:20. It is Friday, January the 31st. Welcome back, Ramon Foster. How we doing?
We're good, man. Glad to be back in the studio. Glad to be back on my regular routine. What I've noticed more than anything, when I'm out of town, my ability to respond to text messages, because when I'm out of town, I'm doing something, is I got so many text messages I got to respond to. And also, too, stable Wi-Fi.
Ooh.
Like being in places where the Wi-Fi is stable and I don't have to worry about using my phone hotspot and the signal dropping is something that I've taken for granted. I enjoy being in a stable Wi-Fi network. Okay,
even though I will say ours sometimes is not stable.
You're 100% correct.
Just gonna be real.
But I got an answer for it every single time. I can at least get off and use my phone.
You got LTE here.
Yeah,
you got a backup plan.
In certain buildings you go into in places, you're just like on old LTE, not 5G. UW, none of that.
Was it like that at the stadium?
At the convention center, it was like that.
Gotcha.
And I had a few things I had to do, and I was just like, goodness gracious, what's going on? But stable Wi-Fi. Besides that, great. I thought this Senior Bowl it flowed a whole lot better.
Nice.
I thought the amount of talent that was there was really, really good. And just the way guys worked it, too, as you can tell, all the defensive linemen that left yesterday and did not practice with their respective teams. So guys got what they needed to get done and left. So
did you get to see Coach T? That is Mike Tomlin.
Coach Tomlin? Yes, I did. Sat there and talked to him. It was, and I talked to the Steelers GM. The whole crew was there. Their scouts, everybody. But yeah, I did.
Nice.
I had somebody telling me, you're supposed to introduce me to Coach Tomlin. I was just like, I forgot.
You can't introduce anybody. You introduced, Will, you went back up, I think, that time when we were on the field.
Yeah.
Where it's easier to see, correct?
Yeah, but I did get to shake his hand, and that was one of my claim to fames.
He did. So Coach T's one of those types of guys you want to be around, and he always want to include you and stuff.
Sure.
But like I try to separate myself. In passing, we saw each other dapped up, small communication. And he was like, hey, hit me up, man. Let's go to dinner tonight. And I was like, I know that. That is the Hollywood, hey, give me a call later. Which, if I had it would have been all the way cool. But
Good to see you. Let's catch up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Narrator. They never catch up.
See, my dumbass is a person that's like, oh, hell yeah. I come home and tell Cheyenne, like, hey, he wanted to get dinner tonight.
Yeah.
And then don't nobody ever hit you up. Don't nobody ever, like, oh, man, stuff came up. Sorry about that.
I had a couple situations like that down there. I was just like, Teron Davenport going to kill me, man, by the way. Every time we go to these events, I plan and he plan and we plan to meet up at a cigar like shop or whatever. And every single time, like something comes up. So Teron Davenport, if you
do
hear
our guy
this,
TD like that, that's crazy.
Look, and I saw him the next day. I said, TD, just know. Something came up. Rob Ayers, VFL, he's on the Vols coaching staff. He came in town late. Me and Rob are best friends. OG friend, okay? Call him Black Rob. Like, you get a nickname, we in it for life, all right? He came in, and I sat and talked to him. So, man, I flaked out on TD again. I'm not doing it again. Next time I make plans with Teron Davenport,
Holding it to you.
I have to be held to it.
Yeah,
but
I'll hold you to it.
you have to. But it was funny because I ended up talking to Steelers GM Omar Khan. And I was like, I just saw Coach Tomlin. He was like, hey, we need to grab lunch like tomorrow. And Omar was like, Ramon, we're leaving tomorrow after practice.
That's awesome.
He meant well.
That's hilarious.
He meant well is what I said. And I was just like, I knew it. Omar's like, I probably wasn't going to hit you guys up anyway. But it was cool. They invited me up to their suite because I think most teams get like a watch suite at their. By the way, South Alabama's, we saw it, but their stadium, their campus.
Brand new.
Really nice.
Beautiful. And I do wonder if, a lot of money on there. I wonder if
No, that was me fining you for they invited me to their suite.
Oh, my.
I wasn't able to participate
that was kind of buckish.
in the oysters and caviar.
But, hey, I need to go up there and grab something to eat from them after all the blood, sweat, and tears I provided them. God dang.
Many leather-bound books of scouting reports of players past.
Caviar and Cavassier.
I'm telling you, man. But it was a good little time, though. Guys, I think, made money this past week. So.
It's a shame you could not go meet with the Steelers brass and tell us whether or not they were going to let Justin Fields be a Titan next year. What the heck, man?
You could have been an insider. Come on now, Mona.
So who's everyone picking? Who are the Titans picking? Tell us 1 through 32. What's going to happen? Let's hear it.
Generational. That's all I can say, man. But it was a lot of playmakers for them to have their eye on this past week. And we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll talk about some of those players coming up here in just a few minutes. And, of course, Jim Nagy at the Senior Bowl joins us at 8:20 as he does every year the Senior Bowl comes around. He's been very good to us. Appreciate his time as always and looking forward to catching up with him. Titans did make it official yesterday, officially hiring Dave Ziegler as assistant GM and Reggie McKenzie as vice president / football advisor. That's an interesting position for, I think, Reggie specifically. We knew Dave was assistant GM. Vice president. Wow. Important.
That is
for important. The VFL and the Austin East Roadrunner.
Austin East?
There is a lot of titles building up here. So, again, be interested to see how everybody works together in these situations because one thing we do know, they have a lot of experience now in this front office and bringing, from different organizations as well. But let's make sure that it can all work together.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It seems like they at least got a lot of people in the room, like you said, that got experience. That's the biggest thing is, you guys know we talk to the fans as far as the Titans go, and a lot of fans have had a lot of questions like, what's the direction? What are you guys doing? And these hires and like position designations like really tell you what their plans are moving forward. Right. We almost got people to blame if something goes wrong with as many titles that you got. But these guys come in with a ton of respect. I know Reggie McKenzie. I've heard his name for years. I don't know a whole lot about Dave Ziegler, but they got people in specific roles, and we'll see what it turns into. Assistant general manager, though, is a pretty solid title for Dave Ziegler too.
A lot of experience. No doubt about it. So how is it traveling with Titans Radio? Like, I imagine you guys, even in the off season, like you guys can definitely relax probably more than you can in a game setting. I don't know, though. I mean, you guys don't have any trouble having fun.
No, absolutely. That was the first thing I was going to say, fun. Okay, they know how to have a ball. Yesterday coming back, Red had Ashley Farrell play like snippets of songs. There's there's this app or this game you can download to your phone. It gives you like the first 3 seconds of a song of every
I bet he's
year.
incredible at that.
Yeah, he probably just dominated.
It was
No
like-
wonder why he wanted to play that game.
First 3 seconds of a song from 1958, he
Yeah.
knew it. All the way up to like
1958.
yes, all the way down to like 1989 to the mid 90s, and we did that because of course entertainment and just
Were you
overloaded
driving
football.
right now,
Yeah,
right?
I was
Okay.
driving. Yeah, I drove the van up and down. They seemed pleased with my driving skills.
I was going to say, I heard on
Good.
3HL, you got 5-star reviews
Yeah.
and all these things.
I did.
I mean, if you ever need another career, that's the one for you. man.
seriously.
That's what Ramon needs is another career.
Right?
I know.
If you ever need to fall back on
Radio
anything,
host,
man.
middle school football coach, high school baseball advisor, father, and a
Limo
dog
driver.
dad, and also NFL PA,
Yes.
whatever the heck,
Oh my
and then
god.
driver.
And
Yeah.
then driver.
added to the list.
Yeah, but it was fun, man. Yesterday driving back was a little bit more of a decompressing from everything that happened over the course of the week. But it was good. That group is a great group, man. That's why Titans Radio are who they are, man. And of course, missed Mike Keefe this time around. A little bit different, but the operation still flowed, and that's what you're looking for as they continue to look for the VOT, new VOT. What do we
right.
call them?
Yeah.
And VOT is what we call them now.
Invite. I don't know.
New VOT. But it was all in all a productive meeting. I know Amy Wells, I think, went into the big roundabout room where all the players were and interviewed a couple quarterbacks just for the sake of because you just never know what's going to happen.
You totally never
And there
know.
were plenty there.
And
There were.
that is the
Plenty
biggest
there.
thing last year taught me is don't get fixated on one prospect
Yeah.
through the whole process.
Same.
You
my
never
brother.
know what's going to happen.
Same.
Never know. Even when you have the number 1 pick, you never know what's going to change.
Yeah.
I
Explore all options.
after last year with Alt and JC, like I'm not fixating on one guy. I understand what needs are, but from my understanding, they got a lot of them, and they want to fill as many as they can through the draft. Is all they've ever said in the introduction of all these new roles from Chad Brinker all the way down.
Well, let's talk about some of the superlatives from the Senior Bowl coming up. Best position group, most impressive player, most surprising, and most disappointing group down there in Mobile. We'll talk about that with Ramon, get his perspective on more names and more guys that could be Titans coming up next. A very happy Friday to you on 104.5 The Zone. It is RKW. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Brent Hubbs at 7:20 this morning. Executive producer of the Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy at 8:20, and Ron Slay at 9:20. If you've got a meeting, maybe you've got a nap in your future, you can download the 104.5 The Zone podcast network wherever you download podcasts and search for Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Ramon, if I were to ask you one player who you feel like fits the Titans type the most, one guy who is most likely to be a Tennessee Titan who is in Mobile, Alabama this week, who comes to mind first?
Who comes to mind first? Elijah Arroyo. Tight end, Miami. I always got to. I do offense and the defense if you're good with that.
So Cam Ward at number 1 and Elijah Arroyo in the second round?
There we go.
Get the band back together?
There
are worse options.
He has a familiar body that he's used to throwing to, and you say to yourself, well, it was because of the quarterback, and Cam Ward, because he was so good this year, made him who he was. No, absolutely not. That young man was balling, okay? Separation, playmaking, able to move the chains from what I got from him. As far as just a big body, what is he, 6'3", 6'4", a mismatch to everybody that went up against him. I thought he was thicker. No, he's not. I think he had on sleeves or something. I was missing him on Tuesday. When I saw him on Wednesday, it was just like, okay, yeah, no, this guy is an athlete as it pertains to how he plays ball. Now, again, the style of football that Coach Brian Callahan wants to play, his ability to block. I'm not even worried about the blocking at this point because you look at this team's receiver/tight ends, wide receivers, Calvin Ridley, and, Tyler Boyd's a free agent this year, right? Yep. So you need another body, and until Josh Wiley and Chig take that next step, and Chig did some good stuff.
Who even knows if they'll be on the roster?
I mean, it's that side of it, too. Chig, I think, has one more year on this one, too, but, of course, you're right. With Wiley, what's going to happen there? So offensively, you look at that and say to yourself, all right, I see a place for a guy like him that can create a mismatch in this AFC South for the Tennessee Titans. He's a guy that sticks out to me. Elijah Arroyo. Defensively, Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M.
Okay.
I can see him being here.
He's not playing in the game, right?
He did.
He's done.
He had every right to, okay? He did. He had a grudge match between the LSU tackle/guard Emory Jones. Emory Jones played right tackle, and they had the one-on-one at the end of the practices after Wednesday. And the first rep, man, Shamar got him, bodied him real quick, got to the quarterback. Next match, you had Emory Jones get him, and then it was a tie on the third rep. So it was a really good moment for both those guys. I liked what I saw big time out of Shamar Stewart. I could see him being a productive young guy if they decide to move on from Arden Key or something like that. Definitely.
Which I think they need to. Yeah, he posted 4.5 sacks in 37 games this past season. So you say he has kind of the height, weight, and speed combo?
Height, weight, power, speed.
He's a Danico Autry type.
Yeah.
He's a bigger edge rusher.
Can hold, that's how
280 pounds.
Yeah,
can hold the
Danico's
edge.
a big boy.
But I think quicker, more explosive than what Danico would provide to you. Now, if you're trying to, like I said, get away from Arden, like I saw this guy get after the quarterback, push the pocket, shrink the pocket, every rep, it seemed like the entire week. I thought she was in hell in this.
No, you're good.
Yeah, but like that was.
I have to breathe.
He was. I know. I talk too much sometimes. I need to breathe. Okay. You asked me. Well, I ain't gonna go there yet until you ask me about it. But as far as like the SEC talent that was there, the edge guys, they showed up, and I also got to just pull back a little bit too, because the first day I didn't think the Kentucky interior defensive lineman Deion Walker he got stuck on one-on-ones. You can tell he's probably filling it out, trying to, find his way throughout the practice. But what I did like about him Wednesday, absolutely wrecked shop on the offensive line.
Sure.
He, as big as he is agile. So if you're looking for help up the middle for the defensive line, it was good too. But I don't think they'll go that route early. Maybe he's a fourth rounder they can pick up, but he made money this past weekend too.
Can I go back to Arroyo really quickly? And Miami had a lot of talent down there, by the way. Might we add that? Because they also had Mason Taylor down there, which is the other tight end.
Yes.
Obviously,
Jason Taylor's
Taylor's
Yep.
son.
LSU guy.
LSU guy, yep.
What's the difference? Because he had a good week, too. I don't want to take anything away
No,
from
he
him.
did- he
What's
did.
maybe the difference, though, between those two tight ends? Because they're both on a lot of people's lists coming into this draft.
You take one, I take the other. That's the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're both pretty up there.
For me, it was just the element of surprise that Arroyo did what he did. Elijah Arroyo from Miami did what he did.
He wasn't getting as much pub.
No, it was all Mason Taylor.
Okay.
And I've known about Mason Taylor since his freshman year at LSU. So,
Mm-hmm.
of course, the expectation. I will say, I didn't think he had a bunch of, X plays down there to where you said to yourself, yeah, but what I do know about a guy like Mason Taylor, the tight end from LSU, is he's a proven commodity. I think he translates over to the NFL. I just look at a guy like Elijah Arroyo getting into the league and you say to yourself, who is that keeps catching the football? That's what I got out of him.
For sure.
I didn't know if when you were talking to people or when people were speaking about Arroyo, if his injury history came up, if people were concerned about his sophomore and junior year was only able to play 4 games, both those years, tore an ACL in 2022. If that was a concern for him or if people thought that was still going to impact him in the NFL. It
did come up to a couple of guys I had conversations with, but they saw him be able to survive this week, go into the draft process, and I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue, though, Bert. The way he cooked, to me, probably one of the Senior Bowl MVP types as far as practice goes.
Mm-hmm.
If he was a 4th rounder, I think he's considered now 3rd, late 2nd is the way I'd view a guy like him.
Yeah, Dan and Jeremiah wrote at NFL.com yesterday afternoon that he had Arroyo near the bottom of his top 50 coming into the week and now thinks he is going to leave with first-round buzz after the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, that's huge. And I love Daniel Jeremiah's perspective on what he does with breakdowns.
I think a lot of that's interesting because the Titans are now looking at some of these prospects and watching them have stock that's rising above pick number 35.
Yeah.
Because Mike Green at Marshall would have been a logical choice for the Titans in the 2nd round if you don't pick Abdul Carter in the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Now Mike Green might be a first-round pick at this point, and you might have the ability to draft somebody like James Pierce Jr. With the number 35 overall pick. So it is a game of musical chairs, and all these guys who they go up, and then somebody else who's been mocked in the 1st round will fall. And obviously, we're so early into this process. But I think the interesting part of having the discussion about those positions is this is the value in trading back.
It is.
And getting yourself another 2nd round pick to be able to double up and take a non-premium or a non-pressing need and just let the board speak to you. Because Chad Brinker has used those exact words. Let the board speak to you. And that might allow you to take a weapon like Elijah Arroyo or Mason Taylor in the 2nd round.
And not just him, but just the quality of guys that are down there. Like you said, of course, if you move back, you get more picks. Well, I still feel good about a Jack Besh out of TSU. TCU, yeah. Frog, yeah. A guy like him, if you don't bring back Tyler Boyd, you got a guy in him that can play outside and inside in the slot.
He's a little bigger slot, right?
He's bigger, yeah.
He's
like
Tyler Boyd is too.
Yeah, exactly like Tyler Boyd. So you get an opportunity to put yourself in a position where you can just go get weapons. But it wasn't just and I focus a good bit on the offensive side, but there were some linebackers, man, that did it really good too. I brought up the Oregon's linebacker.
Jeffrey Bassa.
Bassa.
He was on Dan and Jeremiah's standouts list yesterday too.
Yeah, so
y'all been comparing notes.
I ain't even seen, I ain't seen anything that he's seen, written as of late.
He's got his 12 standouts.
And he's one of those guys also. Bassa, good in coverage. He was able to attack the line of scrimmage really, really well, man, and just hands around the football. He wasn't, nervous dropping back. You saw a lot of good traits, as far as, the times I've seen the Senior Bowl, I don't know if there's been a better pool of talent and guys that made plays, and guys were getting after it too. It was some dudes that got embarrassed down there also. Some of the smaller school guys.
Can I ask really quick, what's the most revealing drill for somebody to get exposed?
I would say the wide receiver versus DBs drill. 1, can you separate as wide receiver? And 2, can the quarterback throw the ball in a good spot?
And we saw some downs from Milroe in that situation.
He did not help himself this week, in my opinion. I've seen also some people have tried to push up. I opened up my phone this morning on Twitter, and I see Jackson Dart as QB2.
Yeah, Todd McShay has already put out there. Some teams have him QB2.
I'm not believing any of that stuff.
Oh, I believe it. I absolutely believe that it's out there.
I believe.
No, I don't believe that should be the case.
No,
is what I'm saying.
Will's tongue in cheek was like saying, like, yeah, it's out there, but nobody
it's
believes
out there.
it.
We just talked about it. Yeah.
Nobody believes it, though, is my point.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's why I think at least at the end of the round with talent, that's why you're going to see a lot of guys where Mike Green, Elijah Arroyo, these guys could be first-round picks because Daniel Jeremiah tweeted 3 days ago, the strength of this class is in the middle. Picks 20 through 60 are pretty much the same. So depending on your needs, the player, your type of defense, your type of offense, that kind of guys you want around your team, anybody, the 60th overall player could go 29th overall because they're around the same talent level. So it's not going to surprise me to see anybody say, oh, this guy could slip into the first round. You could name any of those 60 guys and say, yeah, he could potentially go in the first round.
Easily do that.
Does that dissuade teams from trading up then?
No, I don't think it does because I still think like the first 5 that are going to potentially be picked this year are still can be franchise changers, whether it be one of the quarterbacks, whether it be Abdul Carter. You find yourself in a position that there's some real good talent still left that didn't show up in Mobile this past weekend. So
you still though think with the trading down situation, if the Titans do that, it has like they're already thinking a number in our mind. We're not going any lower just because there is only certain amount of talent at that top 10 spot.
I don't know what their philosophy is going to be as far as just like who is a Titan moving forward, but if somebody's moving up 4 spots or 5 spots to come and get the number 1 pick, I don't think they'll be as worried by saying, oh, we missed an Abdul Carter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because because it's so much more quality across like the middle
board.
of the 1, all of 2, all of 3. And again, they don't have a 3rd round pick this year too. And if you're trying to get some of those top 100 guys, like I will say,
biggie.
To this horn real quick, whether you want to get a Walter Nolan mid-first, if he goes at late, or even much so, like I looked at Walter Nolan and Omar Norman Lott in the same conversation this past weekend. If you don't get Walter Nolan, I feel just as good from what I saw and talking to people around how Omar Norman Lott did this weekend. You still get the same amount of production. Omar Norman Lott's thing is going to be, all right, how can he continually stay on the field? And as far as Walter Nolan goes, the reputation that he likes to just chill from time to time.
Yeah, take some plays off.
He takes some plays off.
We all wonder that about Devondre Sweat too. Can he be on the field as much?
Well, different position, though,
No,
right?
I know it's a different position, but it's always questions I think sometimes we fall back on a little because it is going from college to NFL. But I feel like Omar Norman Lott has the mindset. Like he wants to prove something.
Yeah, he does.
And he, he's kind of gone through a lot to get to this point.
I ended up talking to him for a while. He was in the convention center. We ended up talking for a little bit. He got his mind on. He wants it. It's a matter of, all right, whatever UT told the scouts and teams and stuff like that versus what he does at the combine. I think his numbers are going to be insane. But here's the other thing, too. If you don't get one of those 2 guys, you can get a TJ Sanders out of South Carolina and do just as fine. The Florida defensive tackle, Cameron Jackson, was just as good this past weekend, too. So there are positions, man, that are they're stacked with just loads of talent. The safety positions, I think, who was it on the national
Titans
roster?
need one of those.
They do. What was his name? I'm looking for it right now. Out of, was it Trey Rucker, I think is who it was. Just big body guy, can play for you. It was a lot. And then also, I liked Iowa State's cornerback. What's his name? Darian Porter, long body guy. I don't know what round they had him, but he was always on his wide receiver.
Iowa State had some dudes out there this week. I feel like I saw on both sides of the ball, a lot of those Iowa State players, which tells you something.
It does, man. All in all, probably one of the better ones I've seen so far. I didn't think some of the quarterbacks helped themselves other than Shuck.
I was going to say, so was he the most impressive quarterback or was Dart better?
Tyler Shuck was the most impressive.
You and Mac have both said that. Right. And Louis Riddick put that out there yesterday that he feels like Tyler Shuck has starter-level talent in the NFL. That is a guy that I think will start to be compared to the Brock Purdy kind of pick, like the maybe a Matt Corral type that's going to be a mid-round. Hey, if he works out, he could become a starter, but you're probably getting a backup for the first 3 seasons. Yeah. Problem is, he's just an older prospect, and so you're already signing up for an older guy that would have to sit for 2 to 3 years. But Tyler Shuck interests me for sure. I mean, they don't make a lot of 6'5" quarterbacks like that. I know Bert and I were talking.
6'5"?
Yeah.
He didn't. Well,
big
my
dude.
depth perception was different from the stands or
I was
whatever.
going to say,
it
how
was.
small did Dylan Gabriel look then?
Dylan Gabriel looked like a toothpick down there. Okay, but Tyler Shuck was by far, to me, the best quarterback to be able to spin it. His accuracy was there. His timing of just getting the ball out was way better than anybody else's down there.
6'4" and
Impressive.
7/8", 224, 9 3/4 hands.
I like him even better now.
Yeah.
I like him even better now.
That's what I love about the Senior Bowl, and we'll talk to Jim Nagy later in the show because he finds a lot of these prospects, right? I mean, we saw it with Jake Kaner a couple years ago, different quarterback, obviously, but made a name for himself and really like put his draft stock up because of the performance at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
So a lot like Chuck is doing right now.
He wills. Will, your guy that you pointed out from Bowling Green.
Harold Fannin. Haven't heard a lot of good things about him this week.
You know why? He doesn't look like he's supposed to be doing what he's doing. He has this duck-footed, slew-footed type of running style. It's almost as if like his hips are super tight and he scoots his feet. But you know what he does? He's quick, not fast.
Catches a dang football.
And yes.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Isaiah Likely.
Okay.
He is a long
get
tight
behind
end
that.
who people are going to say, he needs to fill out. He needs to add more muscle. He's probably not going to test that well at the combine.
No, I don't think so.
But a guy like him that can play football that you can use in unique situations,
100%.
I'll take a guy like that over some guy built in a lab every day.
I agree. He's just a ball player. He's 6'3" and 1/8", 238. The measurables are fine. He just produces. He just catches the football when you throw it to him, like over and over. And he should have won the Mackey Award if those voters were paying attention this past season. They just went for the big shiny thing in Tyler Warren, who was great. Don't get me wrong, but like Harold Fannin won like the triple crown at the tight end position and was setting records of production at the tight end position. I'm gonna get off the soapbox eventually, but it's not gonna be today. Dang it!
Yeah.
I would love for a player like that though to fall to a place where the Titans could take him. And again, you move back with the number 1 overall pick, you can afford to take a Harold Fannin in the 2nd or 3rd or 4th round or whatever.
Dude's not even 21 years old yet.
That's what I'm saying, too. He's not one of these 24-year-old prospects that's was that close to entering the LinkedIn portal had they not had the COVID year, the extra season.
His savviness on running routes was good. His ability to, like I said, he runs like he's scooting his feet, and next thing you know, he's breaking outside for a catch. And he's like, wait, how did you get open? You don't look that fast. Yeah. That's what he was able to do this past weekend, man. So it was real cool to watch him. As one guy, it's a couple guys I didn't think helped themselves this weekend, and they come in with hype.
This is so much fun.
Just talking ball.
Bert's taking notes back here.
No.
Who was disappointing in a bad way?
But I'll say this.
Surprising in a bad way.
It was more surprises for good than it was for bad.
Which is, good
I
to
know.
hear.
It was good to hear. I didn't think Xavier Shepro did anything to help himself at all. Could not get open. Didn't seem fast. It wouldn't shock me if he ran a 4.7 plus.
Wow.
I don't know how he got there. Landon Jackson, the Arkansas edge. If you ever go back on Twitter and look at his Bert know where I'm going.
Game against Tennessee?
No. He played well against the Vols.
That's what I'm saying.
He went to like an Elite 8 camp or something like that.
And his bag work as far as like he's just he's stiff with the hips with how he runs, and he looked that way in camp this week. I mean,
he needs to go up against Lance Hurd every game.
Yeah, he was. Listen, but here's the thing.
We can laugh at ourselves.
No, straight up, we need to. All right, got to be real about this thing. You look at a guy like him and Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end out of Bowling Green, and Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. You say to yourself, how did they get invites? And then you turn on their tape and they just make plays from time to time. If I'm not mistaken, Landon Jackson had double-digit sacks this year.
He's a stud.
He was, but on
his whole
practice,
career, he's a stud.
Nothing. You get nothing from him in practice. And I don't want to be the dead horse, but I didn't think Jalen Milroe did much to help himself this week at all.
I thought he decreased his stock.
Yeah.
If anything.
It's funny watching some of the wide receiver and corner one-on-ones. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No.
There are a lot of TikTok routes out there.
Yeah.
A lot of routes that people see on TikTok that ain't ever going to get run in a football game, and your quarterback's getting killed before you have gotten off the line 1 yard.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about, we're salsa dancing more so than we are playing the wide receiver position on some of these routes. It was a little like, guys.
It was.
These wide receivers, do better. Be better, please.
Straight up.
I know you want to win the one-on-one rep and break the ankle of your DB, but your quarterback has been flat on the ground for 5 seconds while you're still dancing around doing stuff that you saw on TikTok.
There's 3 wide receivers, though, I think did way more than the ones that were expected to. Tez Johnson, Oregon.
Yeah.
Pat Bryant, Illinois, you want this dog on your team. And as far as like scat bats, Kyle Williams, Washington State separated himself. He was able to get open
not
from
me.
time
I didn't
to time.
want to get heat for saying it.
No, he was
he's
able
on
to
Daniel
get
Jeremiah's
open.
list too.
Yeah, he was able to get open. Those 3 dudes right there, you want. Again, where they draft him, I think Pat Bryant of the 3 goes higher than the others because he's got size too and he's a little bit thicker. But if you're looking for a scat guy that's able to get open for a particular offense, they helped themselves.
615-737-1045 is the number. Well, yesterday, Shedeur Sanders talked again before the East-West Shrine Bowl. We got more info on his combine plans and meeting with teams that we'll tell you about coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Is your water heater not heating? Maybe your sink is leaking, the drain is clogged. Well, hey, available 24/7, 365. Our expert friends at Lee Company, they have you covered for all of your plumbing needs. And right now, you can enjoy $30 off a plumbing service call for a limited time. Contact Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or go online to leecompany.com for an appointment to take care of your home's plumbing from top to bottom. I love working with Lee Company because I love working with local businesses who have been around. They've seen Middle Tennessee's growth. They've been here since 1944, and with over 80 years of experience, these are the folks that you need on your team. Open 24/7 with 14 community locations, over 1,000 vehicles in their fleet. You've probably seen the Lee Company vans and trucks driving around Middle Tennessee. Get the best players on your team today by calling Lee Company at 615-567-1000 and get $30 off your next plumbing service call at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. Recap of the Senior Bowl and looking ahead to the game this weekend, this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. But elsewhere, maybe the number one overall pick is at the East-West Shrine Bowl, or at least was yesterday. East-West Shrine Bowl happening on Thursday night. And speaking ahead of it, Shedeur Sanders says he is still not sure if he will throw in front of scouts at the Combine. Talking to people said, I like that I'm able to get in the forefront of everything, and they're able to understand me and ask me whatever questions they want. I'm not ducking, Shedeur Sanders says. I ain't hiding. I'm right here, live in the flesh, and able to answer whatever questions are out there. Do you need to see Shedeur Sanders throw at the NFL Combine?
For him and his brand, no, he don't need to. Because there's nothing good that's going to come out of it, even if it is good. It'll be, can't wait to compare it to Cam Ward after the fact. So, and if he does throw a couple of ducks here, now, which any quarterback can. I mean, Jackson Dart did this past week. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's throwing a duck or two. And I just don't know how much good until he get on his campus or wherever he decides to do their pro day. Heck, I think the best thing for him to do is him and Cam Ward do a side-by-side because I think they're training together. That's what I would do more than anything. Come see me. Come see me in the script. Talk to coaches and figure out what they want to see you throw and go from there more than anything. I don't think the Combine does them well.
Yeah, I remember when C.J. Stroud a couple years ago went to the Combine and decided not to throw. There were plenty of guys, Anthony Richardson, who helped their draft stock by going and throwing at the Combine. But C.J. Stroud knew in the position that he was in, probably being a top 3, top 5 pick, that he didn't need to do that. Right. And it did not knock him. And that was with all the stuff going around with his, football IQ and everything that went around with that. Yeah. So when it comes to now Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders being the top 2 quarterbacks at this moment, I should say, at this moment, I don't feel like it would help him because you do have a different set of wide receivers. You don't exactly know these guys. I think where it might benefit either Shedeur or Cam, and not like split hairs in terms of a decision by one team or the other. They've already seen the film by then. But just in terms of if he wants to do some throwing, do it at your pro day where you know the guys, you can handpick the guys.
It's that part of it that a lot of quarterbacks try to protect themselves with.
I don't know. I want to see him throw. There's not a clear number one guy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, I know I am not the norm, and I'm wrong. It's okay.
It's more like you,
but I'm entitled to my wrong opinion. That I think that in a year where there's not a clear cut number one dude, I want to see the competitiveness of a guy say, "Yeah, I know I'm taking a risk. I'm throwing."
And by the way, sorry, I guess Stroud threw. I guess I got that flipped around. Bryce Young threw, Stroud didn't. So I thought it was the other way around.
C.J. Stroud probably thought that the guy giving him the footballs didn't know ball. Like his Ohio State
that's right. Bryce Young didn't because he was like the short one in the.
He knew he was going number one too. Right. So there was no reason.
Yeah, my bad on that, guys.
But you're right. On which I think most of America want to see them throw. They want to see every ability of theirs, and I think one of the biggest answers that Shedeur is going to have to answer is how good is his arm strength. I don't think he's a cannon of an arm type of guy. I think Cam Ward wins that award right there. But accuracy is what I think. He's an accurate, efficient quarterback is the way you look at Shedeur. I think you look at the gunslinger that Cam Ward is.
Shedeur Sanders, talking ahead of the East-West Shrine Bowl, says, we changed the program at Jackson State. We went to Colorado, changed the program, and we did everything people didn't think we were able to do. So that's why I know I'm the most guaranteed risk you can take.
It's crazy. Like, he's like, I'm a risk. Yeah, if you want to call me that, at least he is taking it for what it is. And I think you look at both these quarterbacks, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, as possible risks for maybe what you want to do instantly as an organization. And most of these organizations that are drafting these quarterbacks probably want to play them right away. We don't know about the Titans situation, but usually that's what happens when you draft these guys high.
And I think that's what you're going to get from a guy like Shedeur also. It's 100% transparent truth. Like, I don't think he's ever going to mince words. I've seen people say, he's a little bit standoffish in how you go about him. Like, him calling himself a risk, I think it's just what him and his camp has talked about more than anything. And here's the other side of it, though, too, is these GMs that got to take these guys this high. Every single one of these picks is a risk.
100%. Joe Burrow was a risk. Like, Caleb Williams was a risk. Andrew Luck. Like,
I mean, J.C. Latham, like every single one of these guys are risk, right? Abdul Carter is a risk. Can he come to the NFL and be exactly what you want him to be? So, transparency, I think you're going to get a lot of that from him over this process.
I like it.
It's funny to me that Shedeur Sanders' personality is seen as, quote, standoffish. But when guys like Joe Burrow act the same way, it's seen as swagger.
I know.
And poise and moxie.
Moxie,
Like
cool.
what's the difference between poise and being standoffish?
Nothing to
Is it
me.
if you have a rap song? Like is it who your dad is?
I just think it's who the name is. I really simply think it comes down to that. And that's what's wrong with the whole situation, because you're right. There's not much of a difference. I mean, Joe Burrow won a national championship. Obviously, he's got some swag that comes along with it, right?
Sure.
When he entered the draft, but I don't think there should be a difference. I actually appreciate the transparency.
Yeah.
He is who he is, and he's not trying to, apologize for that.
Yeah, and on top of that, like I said, just to add to it, Joe Burrow's got diamond-encrusted chains. He's got a mouthful of diamonds, too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Is that a distraction? No. Like,
can he play ball? Yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad you
what does it look like when he spins a football off of his hand?
And Shedeur,
Preferably the right one.
His biggest knock is probably going to be, okay, can he get rid of the ball and not put himself in
It
harm's
takes a lot of
way?
sacks, but that's football discussion. That's not just, like, well, he's too cocky. Yeah, it's the quarterback position. They're all cocky.
You want him to be.
Yeah.
You want him to be. Ask Coach Former about how he wanted his or any quarterback on campus. When you walk into a classroom, they're supposed to stop. When you walk into a room, they're supposed to stop. They're supposed to know you, and he checks every single one of those boxes. I know Coach Forman's retired and stuff, but like that's what he wanted out of his campus quarterback is you need to know who the hell he is.
You guys want to hear my first conspiracy theory of the draft season?
Yeah.
I feel like the way that we talk about things matters. The language that we use matters. Shedeur using the word guaranteed risk matters. He is a smart player. Who is his daddy? His daddy knows how to use press better than anybody else. Who is the team that has talked the most about risk this year? It's my daddy.
Now, I get my proverbial ass kicked over needing people in my comfort zone. Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take. As big a risk as you could take.
The other risk Jerry is taking is not getting veneers because his teeth look doo-doo colored. I don't know if y'all... You know that when
Damn,
old people get old and their teeth just start to look like popcorn kernels?
just deteriorate.
Sure.
It's time to get the veneers, Jerry. It's
he
time.
has the money.
That's what I'm saying. Go ahead and let them carve you up, make you look like them baby vampires, and get the veneers on, and you'll be looking good again.
You could eat your Whataburger better.
Get them chiclets, man. I don't think he can eat crab legs with them, though.
Probably not crab legs.
On YouTube, Dustin says, because Burrow doesn't talk crap and argue with his teammates while he's getting blown out.
Yeah, he
You
does.
just saw Joe Burrow argue with his offensive coordinator while he was beating the Titans this year.
Yeah,
What
he does.
are you talking about?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
All these guys do. You think how many times Ben Roethlisberger argue with teammates?
Couldn't
bro?
wait to.
Yeah.
Let
Come on.
Peyton Manning. Like Philip
yeah.
Rivers.
There is a video of Peyton Manning yelling at Jeff Saturday mid rollout and then getting back to the bench and saying, just snap the ball, Jeff. Just snap the ball. Snap the bleeping ball, Jeff.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady would throw his his
what are
little
we
screens
talking
at
about?
the O-line.
What are we talking about?
Come on.
Yeah, that's
And again,
myth.
here's the thing. You want that. You do. You don't want to push over. That's the reason people label Russell Wilson as like what we label him these days.
A machine
Corny.
that just puts together Subway
Like
sandwiches.
corny and soft. You project Russ to be like soft and
It's
stuff.
future
Like,
Titan Russell Wilson to you. Be easy.
Oh, please no. Please no.
615-737-1045. What should the Titans do at edge rusher this offseason? We'll talk about it next.
All right, y'all, we're there. It's the month of romance. Valentine's is almost here. And are you looking for the most thoughtful, most romantic gift for the one you love this Valentine's? At Genesis Diamonds, celebrating love is their specialty. Maybe it's a simple pendant, or maybe it's an exquisite, one-of-a-kind designer ring. Well, Genesis can help you pick the most memorable and special piece of jewelry for the occasion. And to make it even sweeter, now until Valentine's, whether you spend $399 or check me out, $399,000, Genesis will give you some chocolates, fresh flowers, and a dinner out at no charge. It's a one-stop ultimate Valentine's experience, and when you buy any piece of beautiful jewelry, $399 and up, Genesis will give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Florist and a gift card for dinner at a fancy pants restaurant. So don't mess around. Get to Genesis Diamonds, see their spectacular collection of rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, and more. Their non-commissioned experts will help you find just that perfect thing that will celebrate your love. And Genesis is also throwing the chocolates, flowers, and dinner at no charge. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Spring, and also in limited quantities. So see store for details.
What's going on? 7:02. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham has been designated to return from injured reserve. Brandon had been sidelined since late November with a torn tricep and had to be hoping that the Eagles would reach the Super Bowl so he would have a chance to play. On the year, 3.5 sacks and a forced fumble. 2.5 of those sacks came in his final 3 games of the season. Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford reportedly plans to return for the 2025 NFL season amid contract and retirement speculation. Stafford, who's 36, will need to rework his deal to remain with the Rams as he's currently owed $27 million, none of which is guaranteed in 2025. And Liam Cohen's staff in Jacksonville taking shape rather quickly as the Jaguars agreed to terms with Anthony Campanelli as their defensive coordinator. It is his first DC job, who most recently was Green Bay's linebacker coach and running game coordinator. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW Hour 2, Friday morning, here in Nashville, Tennessee. Streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV. Hit the like button for us and subscribe on 104.5 The Zone's YouTube channel, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch, also where you get the show. And coming up in 15 minutes, that is where you will hear from Brent of VolQuest and On 3. We'll get the latest out of Knoxville on the hardwood, on the grass, as our favorite insider. From our favorite source, VolQuest and On 3, joins us coming up here in just a few minutes. At the edge rusher position, guys, the Titans have some options. There are prospects like Abdul Carter in the first round. Maybe you move back. You take a Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
You take one of the other options you have. You take the Michigan lineman. Go Mason Graham.
Mason Graham. Yep.
You got
absolutely.
options there. But what about the guys who are on the roster? Because you're going to need at least 1 or 2 edge rushers as it is today, and that's with Harold Landry and Arden Key on your team. 2 guys who are 29 years old going into 2025, 2 guys with money left on contracts that you could get out of this offseason. So Harold Landry had 9 sacks last season. Arden Key tied a career high, believe it or not, with 6.5 sacks in the 2024 season. What do you do with those 2 guys?
With Harold Landry and Arden Key?
Yep. You want the contract numbers before you make a decision?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you let go of Harold Landry after June 1st, you would save $17.5 million against the cap this season. You would have $6.5 million in dead cap money over the next 2 years. You would have a $24 million cap hit next year if you decided to keep Harold Landry on the roster. Arden Key, meanwhile, has 1 year left in his deal. $7 million in cap savings if you released him or traded him after June 1st. Again, tied a career high last season, 12.5 sacks in the last 2 years combined. Start with Harold Landry. Keep or release or trade?
Keep. I think you keep him. Simply because it ain't much behind him. You were looking for a lot out of Ali Gay this year. Jalen Harrell, I thought, was pretty solid. But still young. Like, it's not deep at that position on this team. And if you are looking to bring in an edge guy, you need some veteran presence there while still able to put him in a rotation. So if you do choose to get somebody in the first or second round, I say keep is where I'm at on him. And he's only year 7 going into year 8, too.
We complain all the time how the Titans don't keep any of their drafted players. And those drafted players that have pretty good production, and I understand there's been injuries involved in him, but for the most part, Harold Landry has been good enough. He hasn't been exceptional, but he's been good enough. And I think if you're going to continue to, like, you know, Mike Borgonzi and all them say, we want to keep some of these guys and, you know, and pay them, he still just has money or, you know, years left on his deal. So why not just keep a guy like that who is one of your homegrown guys? Because just let him at least play out the contract. So I'm keeping Harold Landry. There is no depth at this position. Yeah. You can't, in my eyes, afford to get rid of him right now.
Sure. I'm keeping Harold Landry as well, because if you're being more selective in free agency, that $17.5 million right now isn't as significant as it would be if you were pressed up against the cap and paying a quarterback. Like, you have the money to keep him.
Yeah, you do.
So you might as well keep him, because you have so many other needs at that position, and because I think you should shop Arden Key.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think if you are looking for tradable assets on this roster, I don't think you're going to get anything significant for Arden Key, but I do think there would be someone out there who would believe enough in him to give you a day 3 pick, or at least swap picks where you could move up around, and you're, trading Arden Key in a 6th for a 5th. Arden Key in a 7th for a 6 or a 5, things like that. I don't think that's the worst idea. You probably get more than that, but what do you feel like you could get for Arden Key in the trade market right now?
Right now, he's going into year 8 himself. Production was good. I thought he had a string of sacks. Like, he was getting after it.
He is inconsistent, though.
Yeah.
That's his problem.
Nothing came at the later part of the season, right? And I think he was also inactive for the last game, too, which, again, at that point, you're going for the number one overall pick at that point.
He's a solid he's a solid 3rd edge rusher.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, he's not a premier
second.
number 2.
No.
I think he is a good 3rd option for a team like Buffalo or Kansas City, who just stockpile edge rushers and have a rotation of like 5 or 6 of them. He is a good piece to go in rotations like that.
I think you get a 6 or 5th for a guy like him, depending upon what team needs are. I think 6 is probably where you land, because at that point, I know you need to get rid of him. And to Caleb's point a second ago, his inconsistency.
Yeah.
Like, that's where he's got give you exactly what you want. Like, he just went missing at times, and heck, the entire rush did. And his ability to also stay on the field. He was more healthy this year. I felt like he just had a couple of moments where he had to be pulled out of the game. I thought he had a hand or something like that the last game. But yeah, if I'm shopping anyone, it may be him. But here's the other side for me. I'd keep him still, just because of the quality of depth that you have. Like, he might not be your first choice, but he's also a guy that can at least bring the attitude. And I hate to even use culture as a part of it, but he does get the guys going as far as leadership too. Like, he is very adamant on how he speaks to his teammates from what I've seen on the sideline from time to time.
Yeah, Arden is not a bad pod in that locker room at all.
Absolutely not.
He is an energy guy, and he's different. He's a little bit of a laid-back personality in some ways too, right? Just the way that he approaches some things. But give him credit. He went out and found a guy that coached him up on the side this last year. And Callahan said that was cool to do too. And it did help his play. Like, we did see improvement from Arden Key. The only thing I'll say about that is, I think if you have the basis of this front office of what they're saying in mind, it is all about stacking picks.
Yeah.
And I feel like if there is interest in Arden Key, which I do believe there will be some interest out there, at least getting a 6th round pick, I feel like they think they can turn that into depth, and they want to continue to homegrown people on this team. So I could see it happening.
Ryan on YouTube says, keep Landry, but restructure him. I don't think they have any reason to restructure the deal either. Like, they have money now, so there's no reason to restructure it and create space for a team that's not going to spend a lot of money in free agency and then make it harder to spend in 2026 and 2027, where you start to put dead cap charges when you want to have as much money available. So I don't see them restructuring Harold Landry's contract.
That would be the big benefit of getting rid of Landry. It wouldn't really be a benefit for this upcoming season. It would be a benefit for 2026, because as a post-June 1st cut, free agency's over. The money does nothing for you aside from maybe helping you with trade acquisitions.
Absolutely not, man. And here's the other thing too. That $17 million that he's potentially going to get. Like, I've been saying this for a while. Like, we got to recondition ourselves to what money is in the new NFL, with so much gambling money coming in, so much TV money coming in. Like, the cap has also increased so much that this is normal money right now. Like, this 17 is probably 12 3 years ago. So that's the other side of it. Also, just looking at how it's increased over the years. Real quick, in 2018, the cap, $177 million. Right now, it's $224 million. They're probably going to be over $260 moving forward. I think this last year, it was close to $240 in 2024. So that number is higher. So guys' salaries are higher because of it. That's the reason we're talking about a guy like Trey Smith potentially getting they projected at 19. Trey's probably going to get 21 to 23 million a year for a guard because of the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think the Titans will pay him that?
You got to be close in a window for me.
I was just going to say.
I don't know if Trey Smith wants. I mean, I got to know who the quarterback is before I know if Trey Smith wants to block for whoever's here.
I do know that matters.
Oh, of course it does.
Do know
Absolutely.
that matters. Yes,
100%.
I do
And I
know
just-
that matters.
I don't know. I don't know if this new group is all about the big names. And I know sometimes those big names, they need to just fill that position at its best. But that's what we're yet to see.
I don't know if I think they could still be into big names. It just might be big name.
That's what I'm saying.
Singular.
I'm
Like,
interested to see how that works.
Trey is as much of a known commodity as you're going to find
Right.
Yeah.
for a general manager who's watched him his entire career from up close.
By the way, the salary cap in 24 was $255.4 million. So it raised over 30 from the previous year.
Dang.
This year, I expect it to go over 270.
Love it.
Keep
So,
on rising.
yeah, we'll see. To your point, though, it might be a big. My thing is this, though, too, is getting Trey just like, okay, the big Christmas gift that we only played a Nintendo 64 on Christmas, or you see what I'm saying, or is it like, is this for the longevity of his career and like sustainability of the Titans moving forward? Because if you're signing Trey's going into year 5, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he'll be year 5 next
He's a couple
year.
years younger than me. He's 25, I think.
Are you going to get him for 5 years, or is this going to be like a 3-year deal too? Because eventually the money's going to come due, and you look at him and say, well, we got to incorporate some youth. Are you getting Trey up to year 10 in his career?
Yeah, he'll be 26 when he takes his first snap in week 1 this
31
upcoming season.
5 years to get 31 years old. Still relatively young.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Coming up, Brent Hubbs of VolQuest and On 3. Big one for the Vols. Tomorrow in Thompson Bowling Arena against Florida, some big-time recruits that are looking at Tennessee basketball as well. We'll hit all those headlines with Brent Hubbs coming up.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? Well, have you ever looked in your crawl space? I get it. Most of us don't even want to know what's in there, but moisture in your crawl space can create unhealthy issues that can make their way into the air you breathe every day in your home. It's Ramon Falston. This is where United Structural Systems can help you, all right? They've been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994, so you know they aren't going anywhere. So help control moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with a USS guarantee. That's right. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space and helps deter mold and mildew and protects your crawl space from pests and also wood rot. So turn your crawl space into a healthy space by calling USS for your foundation repair and waterproofing needs. You can reach out to them also online at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them the old school way at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Friday morning on RKW in studio, kicking off your weekend. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, joined as we are every Friday at 7:20 by our good friend Brent Hubbs of VolQuest. And on 3, there's always a lot to discuss on Rocky Top. Brent, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. A little Jerry Reed to bring us back
Yes.
this morning. A little divorce song this morning for everybody. I'm not sure what that means, but it's good to hear a little Jerry Reed. Glad to be with you guys on this Friday.
Hey, just saying, when you ain't here, it's the shaft, and when we got you, it's the gold mine. That's what I'm trying to say.
There we go.
Well, I'm just glad to be with Ramon and the others this morning.
It's the headline that's making national attention.
I've never been happier to be that other guy, Brent.
Grow up.
I've been called so much worse. I think Kayla and I are great with it.
Yeah, the other girl.
What is wrong with you, Hubs? Maybe. Never mind. I got nothing. You got me. You got me good.
We did have some fun with that.
Oh, my gosh. It's great. Way to go, man. Well, look,
Great.
Kayla's going to a place, maybe, man, that's similar to your greenhouses and stuff like that. So, hey, invite her, okay? Invite her. Oh, my gosh, Hubs.
I love it.
Maybe that divorce song is all about Brandon Anderson deciding to decommit
There
from
he is.
Tennessee.
Look at
Yeah.
There you go. Well
Big J
played.
journalist,
Well played.
big broadcaster.
Nice to get back on track for me. Good job. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little bit of he was always going to take he always wanted to take some visits. I think he committed early, and he decided he wanted to take a lot of visits, and I think he was probably a little bit bothered by the fact that Tennessee took 2 interior linemen out of the transfer portal, including Sam Pendleton, who's got 3 to play 3. So I don't think Tennessee was surprised by that move in the least, that Brandon decommitted. We'll see if anything, if he comes back and visits or if he kind of washes his hands with Tennessee a little bit. Tennessee's in on several other linemen in this class. So I don't think it's, just, wringing of the hands in the football complex that they lost Brandon.
So, Brent, when you talk about these contracts on the football staff tomorrow, when a lot of those deals expire, what is the latest on Willie Martinez, Mike Eckler, Kurt Schmidt, those contracts that are about to expire tomorrow? Any surprises expected on the football staff moving forward?
No, I expect everyone to be back unless someone takes a job on their own. I don't think Josh Heupel's making any changes. I think that there's some agreements in principle that don't have everybody signed off on and all those types of things with those 3 guys. So I think that, it's not like they're going to come to work Monday and wonder, wait a minute, am I getting a deal? Are we not doing a deal? What are we doing? There's been conversation and there's some agreements, some gentleman agreements in place. They just haven't finalized it all yet from a paperwork standpoint. So I think those will come in the next, well, that's Tennessee. It could take a while to get something finalized. But anyway, they've agreed on those deals, and they're going to be there. And then I think you're also going to see over the course of the next few weeks, you're probably going to see some rollovers for some guys who will be going into their last year as of tomorrow. And I think you're going to see some extensions for some of those guys. I don't know. I don't think necessarily that's going to be, everybody. I think there'll be some on a 1-year deal next year. But I'd also think that not everybody on the offensive staff is going to be on a 1-year deal. I think there's going to be some rollover involved there.
Brent Hubbs with us of VolQuest on 3. Hubbs, right now currently is just draft season, pre-draft season for the Vols and just all of these prospects coming up. How important is it for Coach Heupel and his staff to have guys at the Senior Bowl? I know Omar Norman-Lott was there, Brew McCoy was there, and Brew pulled out pretty early in this thing. But how important is it for this team to have that representation down at these places and bowl games?
Yeah, I think you're always wanting guys to be in that situation, guys to be at the combine, guys to hear their name called, the first couple of days of the NFL draft, because that's a marketing tool. Because what are kids coming out of high school thinking about and looking at right now? 2 things. 1, what am I going to get paid to go play football in college? 2, what are my chances? Who can best get me to the next level? Because at the end of the day, they all still want to play in the NFL. There's not a lot of guys who are NFL quality players who get to the end and go, you know what? I just had a love affair for college football. I don't have any interest in the NFL. I'm done with football. You don't see that, right? So everybody wants to play in the NFL. And so the more you have of guys who make it in the NFL, guys who succeed in the NFL, guys who have opportunities to go make it in the NFL, the better it helps your marketing and branding of your program. So, it's big. I mean, there's no doubt Omar Norman Lott moving up draft boards potentially is a good thing. I'm going to be fascinated to see what Elijah Simmons does at the Combine, because I think he's one of these guys that everybody's going to try to figure out, all right, wait a minute. This guy's got some twitch. He's athletic for his size. He was hurt a bunch, so how durable is he? Where does he play? That league's still looking for a plugger. They're still looking for a heavy that can anchor in the middle. What exactly is Elijah Simmons? I think there's some real fascination by the NFL with Elijah Simmons and the possibilities of what he could potentially be in the NFL. We'll see if it works out that way for him.
Looks like a Baltimore D tackle to me, but certain types.
Dan McCullers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dan McCullers, it's always a place for guys that can stay on the field and stop the run. Hub, somebody outside though, man. What is the conversation you're hearing about a guy like James Pierce? We went from potential top 5 to now we're hearing mid round, maybe we're hearing late round. Like, what led to this in your opinion, man? And not sure if scouts come to you asking you what you know about him, but he's been a little bit of a Houdini here in this draft season so far.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of who James Pierce is. I mean, he's a pretty isolated kind of, he doesn't have a team around him that's going to do a ton of marketing and branding for him pre-draft, that type of thing. I think some people are wondering where the production was, his senior year. Why was he not as disruptive, and why did he not finish plays as much as he did his junior year? What was the cause of that? So I think if you're an NFL guy and you're in the personnel department and the scouting department, you're really going back and doing a lot of cut-ups as to what was the difference. Was there a difference in James Pierce 2 years ago versus this past year? Right. Was it simply that he missed Tyler Barron, who, by the way, has done good things, I think, at the Senior Bowl, has helped his stock? There was so much attention on James that he didn't get there. Was he held a bunch? Did he just not finish? Was he freelancing too much? All of those types of things, I think everybody's going to look at with James Pierce. And to be honest with you, there was so much build-up to James Pierce before the season started. I mean, he was PFF's #1 overall player. He was this, he was that. There probably wasn't anywhere for him to go but down. Yeah. And when you have, real guys like that on the front end, what do? You pick the scabs on them all season long, right? How many people were picking scabs on Abdul Carter from Penn State in the preseason versus where he is now, right? He's trending up at the right time. James Pierce was at his highest point a year ago this time. So I think there's just some questions that people have to go answer. And then, there's also some trying to figure out who James Pierce is. I mean, the guy did like 2 interviews in 3 years in Knoxville.
Wow.
So it's one of those, like, what's his personality? What kind of fit is he? Why is he kind of this introvert, isolated deal? I mean, he's going to have to handle himself pretty well in some pre-draft interviews, too, to help his stock. Because I think some people are trying to figure out, hey, if we draft him, what's he like in the locker room? Kind of what's his mindset? What's his mental makeup that way?
Brent Hubbs, our good friend of VolQuest, joining us as he does every Friday at 7:20. So when it comes to football in Knoxville in the month of February, Brent, what's kind of what this coaching staff is zeroing in on as players are there, what you can get out of them at this point at least?
Yeah, February's changed a lot. You don't have much news going on the first week of February with signing day. Most of your signing class is done. And you're not on the road. It's in a dead period and a dead time. So you're not rolling a bunch of recruits in. So it's really a month about your football team, your current team. And so you can't get them out and work them out with a football, but you can do a bunch of film stuff with them. You can do walkthroughs. And as coaches, you can observe and be a part of winter workouts. It used to be you couldn't watch them work out in the winter, which I thought was Like, why? How are you going to enforce it? I mean, so everybody built in their indoor, they built their offices with windows overlooking the practice field, so they could just happen to glance out there and see guys working out. Like, what are we doing, right? So now you're allowed to go down and observe and be around the team while your strength coach is working out with them. You could do walkthrough stuff. You can't do anything with a football. You obviously can't practice them. But where it's important now, Kayla, is you got 20 newcomers on the team, or whatever that's probably like 25 now, counting the transfers. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to teach them schematics, and you're trying to teach them X's and O's and understanding the system, so that when you hit the practice field for spring practice in March, you're accelerated that first acclimation week, that you're doing things and guys have recalls on things. It's not all brand new, and you're not a fish out of water, so you can be more productive in those 15 practices. So it's not OTAs, but it's a little bit like that because the coaches are very hands-on, and it's really big for young newcomers and transfer guys who are trying to get settled into your program and your new systems.
This is maybe a different type of question, Brent, but I'm thinking back at some of the conversations that I've had with former college players and what it was like for them in the off season, and a lot of them telling them we're shaping our body different, we're doing different things in the weight room. Is it at all easier now with the transition from these high schoolers to college because of what's out there, the money aspect, and they kind of know how to come in prepared in terms of their body?
Well, I don't think it has to do with the money. I think the money aspect is a real transition because most of them didn't have it until they started. If they're a midterm guy, they got a check 1st of January. It's the first check they probably have ever received in their life.
That good old Pell Grant, babe. I couldn't wait to get that $2,000.
Just waiting by the mailbox.
No offense, Ramon. This is NIL money. It's a lot bigger than just $2,000 Pell Grant. Okay?
I'll go back to my hole then. Okay.
No, you stay out there. I'm just saying they can buy more than some Taco Bell as of January 1st.
There
right?
it is. They can go to Gucci and not Burles and Coat Factory is what you're telling me.
That's exactly right. Is what I'm telling you.
Gotcha.
But to your point, Kayla, the specialized training that football has become in high school is different. So guys are more, they're not physically ready, but they have a greater understanding physically of what they have to do. And they're probably a little further along than some guys coming out of high school, wide-eyed and played 5 sports and didn't really lift in the off season because they were in basketball or they were doing track or whatever, had a job or whatever the case. This is all football. The transition for these guys is it's all football all the time. So what they're going to do in a typical day, they're going to have a morning workout with the strength coach like they do in a morning practice schedule. And then they're going to go to class. And then they're going to come back after class and then they're going to have meetings. And they're going to have meetings till dinner time. And then they're going to have dinner at the complex. And they're going to look up and they will have spent from 6:30 in the morning till 6 in the evening on campus in the off season. And so you got to learn the grind. And for these young guys right now, it's about learning the grind because they're no longer loving on you because you recruit. You got to have you and, all of that type of stuff. This is about settling in and being a part of the grind. And I think that's important for them to learn this semester before you get into the season. And it also is a chance for you to be all about football and time management, all that kind of stuff. But it is all football for those guys essentially all the time between now and the end of next season. I mean, it is a year-round job to play football at the college level.
Certainly is. No doubt about it. Gives us something to talk about 24/7, 365 as well. Brent Hubbs of VolQuest with us. Brent, when you look at this Tennessee basketball team trying to avoid a third straight loss tomorrow against Florida, Rick Barnes wants more from his front line. He's got his work cut out for him, though, against a Florida team that's got like 6 7-footers, it feels like, and just towers of guys that are just sitting on the bench. What kind of response do you expect from them tomorrow, and how much panic do you feel like there is up there in Knoxville about this team right now?
I don't know that Rick's got a ton of panic. I don't know that the program internally has a ton of panic, but I certainly think the fan base has got a lot of uh-ohs going on right now. This is a crossroad type game. I mean, where are you at? What are you doing? You can't shoot the 3 ball. It's more than just one game. You look at in their losses, they've just not shot the 3 ball very well at all in the last 2 games. I think they've taken like 67 threes or something crazy like that. So they've got to find offense when the 3-point shot's not going down. Because as Rick Barnes said, teams are going to dare certainly some guys on this team, if not multiple guys on this team right now, to shoot the basketball from the 3-point line. Jemai Meshack can get a 3-point shot anytime he wants it. And it's going to be open for him anytime he wants to take it. And quite frankly, so is Zakai Ziegler. Unless he proves he's hot that day. They're going to back off because they don't want to give up dribble penetration and let him move the defense around and create an opportunity for somebody else. So they're going to dare him to shoot it as well. So the question for this team, in my opinion, where do you find points when the outside perimeter jumper is not going down? Okay, who can get to – because you don't have – look, I like Felix Apare. I do. I like Cade Phillips. I think they battle in there, but they don't have a guy who's going to post somebody up that you could throw it into. That guy's going to hit a little baby hook on a consistent basis, or he's going to get to the free throw line. So they got to get the ball on the rim and get some offensive rebounds. They also have to have some guys willing to pull up and shoot an 8 or 10-foot jumper. And I understand analytics say don't take that shot. That's a bad shot these days in basketball. You either dunk it, shoot a layup, or you shoot the three. Okay? But when you're playing amongst the trees and you don't have trees, you miss a lot of layups. Okay? You're about a 50% layup team in conference play. When you're not making the three-point shot, where do you score at? You got to score from 8 to 10 foot away. Zakai Ziegler's got to stop on a dime and hit that little teardrop jumper. Jemai Meshack made one in the first half against Kentucky where he drove from basically the baseline or sort of on the wing, got into the middle of the paint, pirouetted, and ended up with an open 8-foot jump shot that he made. He can get that shot consistently. He's got to take more shots like that. Chaz Lanier, you got to go try to get fouled, get to the free throw line, hit the little pull-up. Same for Milicic. I mean, if you're not making that three ball, you got to find a way to score. And I think that's Tennessee's greatest challenge, not just tomorrow, but I think that's their greatest challenge down the stretch of this season.
Brent, on the way out, Nate Ament was on campus for the Kentucky game, number 4 player in the country, according to On3, and a 5'9" point guard, Chance Mallory, who was committed to Virginia there this weekend. What's the latest on those two guys' recruitment? I know very different processes with the final 11, which is crazy to me, for Nate Ament, and then Mallory, who's narrowing things down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for Nate Ament, I mean, it's the final 11, and he's the most highly decorated unsigned prospect out there. So he's got everyone's attention. The fact that he came here for an unofficial visit was for the Tuesday night game is not a bad thing for Tennessee. I mean, that's a positive. I think Tennessee's probably going to be in the next cut down, which will probably come at the end of February. He'll probably cut the 11 to 3 or 4 and be more manageable. He's at Duke, Carolina this weekend, so you know what kind of atmosphere he's going to be a part of there with a Duke team that's really good and a North Carolina team that's not very good at all. So, Tennessee's battling the blue bloods on that one. NIL certainly going to be a real factor in that deal. So we'll see, what that looks like. I mean, Kansas State's on his list. I mean, is he going to go there? Well, if there's enough money, he might. So we'll see where he goes in cutting that down. He's going to do something in April. So we're not close to any kind of decision there. Mallory was committed to Virginia, decommitted when Tony Bennett up and resigned right before the start of the season. He's been to Tennessee unofficially. He's coming back officially here. He's kind of slowed it down. It looked like Tennessee was going to get him early on, but he's decided he wanted to see Maryland. And he's still talking to Virginia. I mean, I think he's got some interest in seeing who they hire. Does Tennessee want to wait all the way up until, April on him, or is there somebody else they like out there at that position? We'll see. He's a little bit Zakai Ziegler-like in size, has somewhat of a game. I don't know that he's nearly as big of a bully at that size as Zakai can be, but he's kind of a Ziegler-type point guard. That's kind of got his interest in Tennessee because he likes the way Tennessee uses Zakai Ziegler. So we'll see what happens there.
He is Brent Hubbs of VolQuest and On3, Fridays at 7:20 here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. The best of the best covering Tennessee athletics there in Knoxville. Brent, we appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great weekend, guys.
You
yes,
too,
sir.
Brent.
Brent Hubbs bringing us the latest on the football front, on the basketball front as well. Coming up, should Kentucky fans boo John Calipari? One former Kentucky coach who knows what it's like to go back was pleading with fans on his side of this argument yesterday. We'll talk about that next. What's up? It's Will Bowling. You're probably looking for cars and you see the words buy here, pay here. You look elsewhere, right? I get it. Most of those dealers, they come with certain reputations, but I'm here to tell you there is one place that you can and should check out, Nolensville Road Auto Mart. And they're different for a few simple reasons. They've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They are Nashville natives like myself, and they only sell clean title cars under 12 grand. So if you're new to town and you need a place to trust, they have got you. They're affordable, but the process, it is going to be smooth and easy for you as well. Maybe you're looking for that first car for the 16-year-old, that new driver in your family. You want something nice. You don't want to break the bank. Well, hey, they have got the perfect selection for you there as well. And don't take my word for it. Go check out their Google reviews as well. They're excellent, and that's saying something for a car dealership. One location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane, that gets you in and out in an hour or less. And the best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville, and they work with your own financing if you've got it as well. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty. That's why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Give them a call, 615-242-1279. That's Nolensville Road Auto Mart, 615-242-1279. RKW 104.5 The Zone on a Friday morning. Appreciate Brent Hubbs joining us. You can check out that conversation wherever you download podcasts coming up at the end of the show. As always, our conversations with Brent brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. And download the Ramon, Kayla, and Will podcast wherever you download podcasts for every segment, every interview, every conversation, each and every morning. Rick Pitino yesterday took to Twitter. Or maybe someone in Rick Pitino's life showed him how to use it, because he, to me, strikes me as the type that would still have a flip phone.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely got a flip phone.
But the mob probably makes sure that he has technology, just as a front to make it. I'm joking. He's not actually in the mob, but don't sue me.
He might be.
It wouldn't shock me. Pleads with Kentucky fans to not boo John Calipari. Says, applaud him with the respect and admiration that he deserves. Says, Kentucky fans, I didn't steer you wrong with Mark Pope when I sent out that video last year, and I certainly won't steer you wrong with this video. Says, I'm not best friends with John. I respect him, certainly, but it was a mutual thing. The fans wanted to change. John read the tea leaves. He needed a change, and he really didn't want to leave. But what did he do for you? Brought the best talent in the history of the game of any university in America to Lexington. He also won a national title. Also, his style of play was extremely entertaining. He goes on for 2 minutes. Should Kentucky fans boo or applaud their former head coach tomorrow?
Please, everyone be quiet.
Why can't they do both?
Boo the hell out of him, okay? I'm talking about, let him have it. It was a bad breakup. They still hadn't got out of therapy from dealing with him. Boo him and try to beat the hell out of him is what I say. Yes.
I mean, I think they can do both. There's plenty of time in a basketball game where you can applaud him for what he did there over the 15 years, and you can also boo him for the fact that it is Coach Cal, and there are some things that fans didn't love when he was there. Also, might I note, he went to another SEC school to decide to coach. So there's a little bit of hate in that, and should be, because it's an SEC opponent. So why not? It's not like you're, playing somebody from the Big 10 or the Big 12. Like, this is another in-conference opponent that you're facing now with your head coach that you had here for so long. So give me both.
I don't know. I feel like putting myself in their shoes, I don't think I would.
You don't think you
Honestly,
would?
I don't think I would boo him.
You wouldn't?
No.
As blue blood as they are, as bad as that breakup was with them, I mean, I knew it had to happen.
I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad of a breakup.
Well, it just seemed like the fan base had gotten restless with what he was doing there, and he was just exploiting them for his own personal gain and resources, and there was no benefit behind it. And especially the way Mark Pope has come in and just revamped that program in less than a year. It was just like, well, you held us back, so yeah, boo him. Last time he's won a championship is over 10 years ago right now. He doesn't deserve it just yet. You catch him 5 years from now, all right, let him come back. But to just lay down at his feet right now, no, I'm team boo, because I'm also toxic like that too. So don't let me ruin how you feel about a good thing. Oh.
I think, go ahead, Bert.
No, I just hate when people tell us what to do as fans.
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
Yeah, shut the hell up. Don't tell me who I can boo. I didn't like it when Coach K got mad at the student section for booing the old Pitt coach, Jeff Capel. Yeah, don't shut up. Shut up. You coach the game and I'll fan the game. You don't tell me what to do.
Hey, and also tell Coach Pacino, you want some of this too old, man?
Yeah, how many times we got to teach you this lesson, old man? I'll have you coaching Liberty's basketball team. Shut the hell up.
So Pitino went on to say, toughest day of my coaching career at Louisville was when I had to walk into Rep Arena. Tried not to show it, but when I went home, the reception, it tore me up apart because I loved that place so much. It's interesting because I was speaking to Ed Cooley, Pitino says, just recently about Providence. He said he almost was brought to tears because of the bad feelings that he got going back there.
Hey,
Pitino should be crying about all the other things that happened.
They like him again. Like, they've reconciled, Pitino and Kentucky fans, that relationship.
Sure.
And I think it is different, right? Like, he was at the rival. Mm-hmm. Of course they're going to boo Pitino. Like, that one, Kentucky fans, do whatever you want. Like, I'm not telling you what I think you should do. But putting myself in those shoes, I feel like I would boo I would cheer when he's announced.
Yeah.
And then boo the first time he does something that John does and goes outside the coach's box and slams his feet and makes a big show on the sideline.
I think that's why you love Kentucky basketball. And I don't say you love. I'm saying just it's a brand for a reason, right? And you have to continue, whatever that is. He puts on a show in terms of Coach Cal. He's like this TV guy when he comes on the microphone. And why not put on a show, when you have him coming back now and kind of give it to him back in full force? I think it's fun. I think why not play along with it and, give him his respect, but also make him, squirm a little.
That being said, they're not going to boo him as much as social media leads you to believe because that crowd is old.
Yeah,
I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah, they are.
We're gonna have some people calling in. Wait a second.
They also know ball though too. Like they're private.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing too. If it wasn't for Mark Pope having a good year, then they probably wouldn't boo as much. But now it's just like, oh, look at my new man. Look at us. Like we left and we're better because we left you behind. So he'll get his flowers, but I think Mark Pope is going to try to beat the heck out of him, and I do think that fan base is going to let him have it. And he can walk off and, wave and say thank you and all those types of things after the fact. But I'm with Bert on that. Was like, Patino, don't tell me what to do.
Kentucky fans know. Like, it's like Tennessee and the Lady Vols. Like, it's similar to a Lady Vols crowd at Rep Arena because they have generational season tickets that have been held for years. Like, it is an older crowd that goes to games at Rep Arena than it is at the SEC tournament. And it's a big thing Kentucky fans complain about on social media is like people will get mad at you for standing up in front of them when you go to Rep Arena in certain parts of the gym. Like, they know it. They're not going to get mad at me for saying it.
That's what happens when you have your basketball arena next to an antique mall. You know what I mean? When you're shopping
in the mall.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a mall.
Next to all you can come over here and get some antiques, go over there and get your AARP re-signed. Everything around there is benefiting the older generation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not as good of an atmosphere as it used to be, but they know basketball in that arena. 100%.
So
they watched it off peach baskets.
Is their fan base then, in terms of the students, just not like better than some of these other SEC?
No, it's the way the gym is built too. It's like Tennessee, where it's more like an NBA gym and the size of it. Mm-hmm. So you're not on top of the court the way you are at Auburn and the way you are at Duke and some of these other college specific gyms. Mm-hmm. It feels more like an NBA gym where you're further away from the floor. The students aren't the problem. It's the older generation of fans who've had tickets for, 40 years who get mad at you when you stand up.
Yeah, it's a blue blood. Of course. A lot of those blue bloods are going to have that.
For sure.
We were years removed.
Tennessee has it.
And I booed the heck out of Lane Kiffin still, and I can't wait to boo him again the next time.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? Yeah, that's how I feel about it. But, hey, you're right about that. They are not calling – the crowd is just – it's a leisure thing. Until they're winning, it's like Peyton Manning being with the Colts. They know how to just be fans and shut up and just cheer and expect to win.
Coming up, hour number 3, second half of the show. We mentioned it at the very end of the show yesterday. And then 5 minutes later, the news became official. Nashville WNBA, what you need to know, and our reaction to the big news yesterday, coming up next.
What's going on? 8 o'clock. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Eagles getting some reinforcements potentially in the form of defensive end Brandon Graham, as he has been designated to return from injured reserve. Graham has been sidelined since late November with a torn triceps and was hoping that the Eagles would reach the Super Bowl so he would have a chance to return, as he also noted this would be the final year of his playing career. Graham has 3.5 sacks and a forced fumble on the year. 2.5 of those sacks came in his final 3 games of the regular season. Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford reportedly plans to return to the NFL for the 2025 season among contract and retirement speculation. Stafford, who is 36, will need to rework his deal that remains with the Rams, as he's currently owed $27 million, none of which is guaranteed in 2025. And Liam Cohen's staff in Jacksonville taking shape quickly as the Jaguars agree to terms with Anthony Campanelli as their defensive coordinator. It is the first DC job for Campanelli, who was recently Green Bay's linebackers coach and run game coordinator. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show and hour number 3 here already, kicking off your Friday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Been talking a lot of Senior Bowl this week, and coming up in 20 minutes, we will be joined by the man who put the roster together, the executive director of the Senior Bowl. Jim Nagy is going to stop by. We'll talk about some of the quarterbacks, some of the risers, some of the positions that he feels are deepest in the 2025 NFL Draft. 615-737-1045 is our number. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I am Will Bowling. And the news that came out just seconds after we went off air yesterday has gained a lot of steam, gained a lot of traction. We've learned a lot about WNBA to Nashville, the Tennessee Summit, with names like Bill Haslam, Candace Parker, Peyton Manning, Faith Hill, Tim McGraw in the mix. Guys, from what I have heard and from what has been reported, I feel like there is a lot of optimism that the 16th WNBA franchise is going to be right here in Nashville in 2028.
That's so cool. It was deserved. This is a very rich basketball state as far as basketball goes. There's talent here. There's more coming out. Of course, having Pat Head Summit be a pioneer for women's basketball, it was only right. It's like having football in Green Bay. Like, that's how I feel about this one. Nashville is at a point right now to where I think it's more sustainable. There's a base. At least I know me and mine will be inside of that arena wherever they choose to go to watch it. The game is growing, and the NBA is behind it also. I'm going to go ahead and jump in front of. I do think if this works well in Nashville, there will be a play for the Grizzlies here in Nashville. That's my opinion.
What do you mean?
What do you mean a play for the Grizzlies?
Because where Memphis is, unless there's a lot more entertainment coming behind it, the fact that the NBA has invested so much money into the WNBA, if this works out well, in my opinion, for the WNBA as far as crowds and as far as being able to sustain it in this city, I think there's a play to move the Memphis Grizzlies to Nashville.
No, I don't. This is not an NBA town. This is not an NBA city.
It
Memphis,
will be.
Memphis, no, there's no.
Will be.
I love you, but no.
That would be.
It will be.
That would
I'll be
a,
shocked if
a
it doesn't
war in
come.
Tennessee.
I would love to see the Grizzlies.
Memphis is more of an NBA professional basketball city than Nashville is. It would not be successful here.
I think it will be 100%. The drive ain't bad for either side of it.
Never in terms of a team coming here. I don't know. I don't know if a team. I don't know if they would come over here. I think you just get a team.
Yeah, an extra and another expansion team.
If it's going to be something.
The NBA is not going to expand again, I don't think. I mean, unless
I'm just saying they'd
have to go in a much different market. I don't I don't see it.
Yeah, I just want to put that, but it's about this Tennessee Summit team, though, too. I think it works, and it works well here, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. If you haven't indulged yourselves into women's basketball, you are doing yourself a disservice, okay? Yeah. I love it.
I think it's a perfect area for it. I mean, there's a lot of history here, like you said, with Pat Summitt alone in Knoxville and what she's created. But it wasn't just there. I mean, it goes across the state in terms of people who recognize women's basketball. And I think in a way, maybe Tennessee's been a little bit over the curb in terms of appreciating the game too. So this coming year is a natural fit if it does happen. So wanted to let people know to the other teams if you're interested, because this is a bid for the WNBA team. The other teams that are getting bid in their cities: Cleveland, St. Louis, Houston, Kansas City, and Philadelphia. So it'll be interesting to see, what this bid is compared to some of these others. But they've got star power behind it, and there's a lot of history.
Yeah, it is a lot of history too. And this one, of course, having has them behind it too. I mean, you're going to check every single box as far as getting it done. Bridgestone is set up for it either way too.
It was built for actually basketball.
It was built for basketball. So
correct.
It'll be good. I think the interest will be huge to see the Tennessee Summit play here in Nashville.
Be cool.
And I'm not saying what you're saying is right about the Grizzlies, Ramon, but in 2024, the Grizzlies are 28th in the NBA in average attendance. The only teams that are worse, the Pacers and the Hornets.
So how much does Memphis love going to the games? You got superstar in Ja Morant, right? He's corrected his wrongs over the last couple of years. And what I do know is this, as far as the entertainment value of what Nashville has to offer. Currently, it's making more money, I think, than Memphis is. It's centrally located to Indiana, to Alabama, to Knoxville and Memphis that you can drive up. Atlanta, if you're a fan of the Grizzlies. And they got an airport that flies mostly everywhere around the United States. Memphis don't provide that. Memphis also doesn't have the economy right now that other NBA teams have. So this is where, to me, I feel like a Roger Goodell move is going to be made. Oh, we'll give you guys 17 football games, and the 18th is coming. If the WNBA comes here and it has the ability to show that the money can be made, I see a play to be made. Just my personal opinion.
I think there's a big difference, though, in the interest in this city in women's basketball than professional NBA basketball. And granted, this city has changed a lot. It's grown a lot. This is probably more of a professional sports town, certainly, than it was 15 years ago and 25 years ago. But women's basketball is cool and is popular in this state because of Pat Summitt and the legacy of the Lady Vols. And Nashville is the easiest win possible for the WNBA because women's basketball that is growing everywhere else, like I'd say 40 to 44 states are starting to be like, oh, wow, women's basketball, like getting it. We've been watching women's basketball in the state of Tennessee. Yeah. It's been a thing to watch here. Like women's basketball is growing a lot, and it's growing here in this state too, but we already had the captive audience that cared about people like Candace Parker and like Pat Summitt and Holly Warlick and Shamika Holdsclaw and like, so it is the easiest win. I love the fact that they're using the Summit name. I know Tyler Summitt tweeted out yesterday. His family gave that a check mark of approval. So some people in Knoxville are like, why would they do that and not be in Knoxville? Like the Summit family's cool with it. So it's all good. Like this is all kumbaya and Tennessee is into it. And I love the fact that they would put Summit Blue as one of the colors. Yeah. It's just a no-brainer. And it is a total no-brainer for the WNBA. And for their perspective, there's no doubt in my mind. I would be shocked if this doesn't happen. Totally shocked if it doesn't happen.
DeMario in the chat said Memphis loves going to the games. Trust me, I know. Bert, what was that stat line you just gave again about the Memphis attendance?
The Grizzlies are 28th in the league in average attendance with 16,631 per game. And in total attendance, they are 28th with 600,081.
It is one of the smaller arenas in the NBA too. At just over 18,000 seats. So that doesn't shock me.
And Vandy Man in the F&M Bank chat, I know that there is always the question of, will MLB come here? And I personally love baseball and would love to see an MLB team come to Nashville. But I think overall, when you think about this, that's a long time coming. There's so much fan base that is already based here with the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals, and it's going to be, I think, more of a process. I'm not saying never say never for baseball, but I think WNBA by far is going to come here quickly and probably be more successful.
It's total apples and oranges, too, because you don't have to build them a stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's easy. You plug and play. You got a world-class arena, and boom, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So it was. I'm excited for this one. Will, I think you pretty much broke it yesterday on the news that this was going to happen. Got the right people behind it. This one actually feels more real than like you said, the Tennessee Stars or the
Nashville Stars.
Nashville. Whichever baseball team, because there is just so much more to do as it pertains to building a stadium, logistics, traffic, everything else.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but cool.
There's not enough money behind the baseball one either. Like Nashville has been in the stadium business with the soccer stadium and with a new football stadium. It would take a lot of privately funded money for Nashville to build a third stadium in 15 years. You're going to have an owner and an ownership group to foot that whole bill, because I don't think the city is in the stadium business anymore. And the group that is currently put together just doesn't have the money.
All right.
Like, show me the money. I would love to talk about baseball in
Me too.
Nashville, but until there's real money and like a real push behind it, like it's all just, it's fairy tale stuff. Like it looks cool, but
there's a lot of
not real.
big names, but that doesn't, I mean, the money in terms of what those big names have and then compared to billionaires, it's so different.
And then also this one it wouldn't be in Nashville. I don't think a baseball team. It'll be somewhere.
I think it'd be more likely in Williamson County or Rutherford County. There's just like land in downtown and in Davidson County is so expensive. Like, again, you've got to have deep pockets, and that's just to get the team. Because I'd rather have a good team.
Yeah,
I don't want I don't want like Reinsdorf. Like, I don't want the White Sox to move down here. The Rays, like all these teams that could move are cheap and are losers.
Yeah,
respectfully. On the field.
Disrespectfully.
It is Nashville, though, and anything can happen in a city that continues to grow at this level.
Yeah, until there's real money behind it, though, it's fun pictures to look at. But
show me the money!
Yes.
Right?
Gator Mike's on the line. Wants to talk Tennessee, Florida tomorrow. What's up, Mike?
Y'all ready for the big game tomorrow, Will and Ramon?
Yes, 100%,
Absolutely.
Mike.
It's going to be a great game. It's going to see, Tennessee bouncing back from the loss, and then, of course, the 30-point revenge tour going on. But I know Kayla is going to be on the side of the Florida Gators because of Chinyelu, our big forward, matching it up with Meshack and those guys in the paint. So it'll be interesting to see. That's right. She loves her Gators. That's right. I'm going to have to bring you some Gator gear, Kayla. That's what it is.
Oh, or some Gator. Like, I've never had Gator.
You haven't?
No.
It's really
there
good.
You go. Hey, but yeah, I'm definitely excited about it. But also, Ramon, I saw my boy Shamar James had some good reps down there at the Senior Bowl. Am I right?
Yes, he did, man. You guys showed up pretty well down there, man, for the most part. Linebacker and also the D lineman, Cam Jackson, both played well.
Yeah, Cam Jackson.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't get a chance to see your punter. If I did see the one I think he did, like he shanked like 5 punts. I'm joking. He did not shank any punts. He did not. It's just me being a Florida hater.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. Hope it'll be good. It's early. I think that helps us, and I'll definitely call back on Monday to either eat crow or celebrate like I do.
Well, get your lemon pepper together so you can eat some of that bird crow.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Gator
Appreciate
Mike.
the call. Should be a fun game.
It should be.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, the Vols need a big old dub.
They need it bad.
In the worst way.
And,
No doubt.
And Florida got crushed by them earlier.
Yeah, by
Tennessee.
no, yeah.
Florida crushed Tennessee.
Or sorry, Florida crushed Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to win twice, right?
Well, they just got to get on the winning track right now. They do.
Yep. Now's
Now's your time to take your punch at the Vols if you want one. If you got one, I mean.
Coming up, Jim Nagy, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl. We'll talk about those prospects and the NFL Draft coming up next. RKW continues at 104.5 The Zone, talking Senior Bowl and NFL drafts. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. Robert Walsh at the controls. Going to connect with Jim Nagy of the Senior Bowl coming up momentarily. Before we get to him, though, Ramon, if I were to ask you one player who helped themselves the most, the biggest riser at the 2025 Senior Bowl, is there one player that comes to mind?
One player that comes to mind, the biggest riser. Looking right back through my notes, it may end up being North Dakota State, Gray Zabel.
I was literally just going to say that would probably be mine.
North Dakota State's Gray Zabel, I think, definitely changed a lot of narratives on what people thought about him, who he was, and everything else. And I would also say, too, USC, Southern Cal's guard center, Jonah Munheim, did himself a real good service also. He went from playing guard to center, too. I thought those guys did a really good job. And, of course, Mike Green. From Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he, of course, went viral. Again, as big as that moment was, his next 3 reps was nothing. So there's also that side of it, too, is, all right, what is he going to do as far as consistency as it pertains to play in and play out? And what are teams going to be asking him to do, too?
Yeah. And I would also say, you've mentioned Elijah Arroyo's name a lot, too.
Yeah.
Because Mason Taylor's teammate got more of the pub going in because of the name. And rightfully so. He's a good player. But this is a type of, duo. These tight ends, you could see them going early. But I think he definitely gave himself some help here.
He did. And again, I'm going to throw TCU's wide receiver, Jack Besh. Probably the most consistent guy, one of the more consistent winners of especially going down the field, winning in the slot. As Will said earlier, it isn't one of those situations where he was just running backyard football routes. Like he was actually separating himself, high pointing the ball and everything.
What do you feel like is going to be important to the Titans at slot? Do they want a Tyler Boyd 2.0, a bigger target, possession wide receiver, route technician type? Or do they need a speedier guy, a smaller, faster guy to take the top off the defense? Because they have that maybe a little bit in Calvin Ridley. But I'm curious what their type is going to be at wide receiver.
I'm looking at what Cincinnati's done. 2 premier wide receivers, right? T. Higgins, Jamar Chase.
And they've said they kind of view Calvin Ridley as their Jamar Chase. Like they want him to be that.
So and what I'm getting at is you got those 2 guys, and then you got how do you say his name? Evas.
Andre Josevach, who was at the Senior Bowl when we were there 2 years ago.
And he's a taller, bigger slot type of guy. So if I'm looking at what Cincinnati has, I'm looking at a guy like Jack Besh.
Yeah.
Like that strikes me.
It feels to me like that's a guy who could be a Titan.
Yeah, it does. And again, I don't know if they're going to go after one of the real quick scat guys. Kayla, the wide receiver from your school, Williams.
Kyle
I don't know if
Williams.
they'll go after a guy like him.
Right.
There's also Tez Johnson.
And Tez Johnson. Like those 2
Oregon.
guys, like they made plays, but I don't know if Coach Callahan wants that in his offense. Like they'll go Seattle, those types of teams like that.
Kansas City. And that's the interesting part is that Borgonzi and Callahan, that's probably one position where the Kansas City type and the Cincinnati type are different.
They are.
That's what is yet to be seen. I think we can sit here and predict all we want, like this is what they did in Cincinnati. I don't necessarily think that we're going to see this offense be exactly continue to be based off of that. I think with Borgonzi in here now and him bringing, that knowledge of how they drafted, and then working with Callahan, saying maybe this would work better to get more of a scat back, speedier guy than it is to get maybe a Tyler Boyd type of body.
Oh.
That's what's yet to be seen. I think that's what's fascinating about this new group that you're bringing in. How do they work with Callahan to find a happy medium? Because I don't think it's all just going to be Callahan saying, hey, I want this, I want that. That's what we did in Cincinnati.
But see, to me, that's what a problem lies, though, too. Because not that you're wrong or anything about that, but like the conversation about what the GMs want is all we've been having. Or
GMs, plural is the key part.
I mean, they brought a lot of Callahan guys over here last year.
They did, and to me, the job of those guys in place is to find what works for Coach Brian Callahan, and that's where I'm, to your point, hesitant until what actually is going to work here. Is he going to work it? Like, I don't know if he's on a hot seat or if he's the guy for the future. But The job of the GM is to find guys that work for the team that's being coached by the coaches.
Right.
Okay, what does Coach Tracy Rocker want? What does Denard Wilson want his defense to look like? What does the offense need to look like? And to your point, like, there are blended variations of players between Kansas City and Cincinnati. But at the end of the day, Coach Callahan got to be the one to coach those guys up. Maybe he wants a taller Tyler Boyd, Jack Best type of guy that's better in the run as opposed to Williams out of Washington State or Tez Johnson out of Oregon. Like, why get a second round or a third, fourth round pick on those guys when it's not conducive for the offense? That's the issue that you're running into with having everybody speak about anybody but Coach Brian Callahan. And you're right.
Maybe that's a question then the next time, we have availability with him is now, what type, because I don't think he's given specifics. Like, even when you asked about a quarterback, he's not saying, well, we want this type of quarterback exactly. Like, he says things where you're like, maybe it could be a Cam Ward, maybe it could be a Shedeur Sanders, right?
Yeah. How much does it say so Coach Brian Callahan matter at this moment?
That's a good question.
It is interesting because, like, how much should you pick players for a coach that you don't know if that coach is going to be here for that guy's entire rookie contract?
And his system, right?
That's why I don't care as much about drafting a quarterback for his system.
Right.
If Brian Callahan is a good enough coach, he will make it work with whoever he has. Sean McVay makes it work with what he has. That's the thing about the Rams, I think, that's so impressive. And it's the Zach Taylor, Sean McVay tree that Brian Callahan comes from. Like, that offense doesn't look the same every single season. Heck, I just saw John Ledyard put that out there and said continuity and verbiage is important for Liam Cohen. Said Liam Cohen didn't run a, quote, McVay offense, and a McVay offense changes every year because McVay is really good. So is Cohen. They run a super diverse offensive system. Like, you don't get to be a head coach in the NFL by just doing the same exact things the entire time you're in the league. No. You make it work based on the talent that you are given. And if you feel like Cam Ward's the better quarterback, then it doesn't matter that Cam Ward doesn't fit into the Joe Burrow system. Make a Cam Ward system.
And that's the job and task of a coach to a point, 100%.
Like the slot receivers that Kansas City is picking would be different for Alex Smith than they are for Patrick Mahomes. So, like, the Kansas City type is Marquise Brown, is Xavier Worthy, is Rashee Rice, is Tyreek Hill, or these faster, smaller guys. Well, yeah, that's because they got a quarterback that can throw it over the mountain. Yeah. So, obviously, that would be different if they had a different quarterback. They just got to figure out who the quarterback is.
To your point, that offense has changed 3-4 times under Sean McVay. There's a guy in Pittsburgh, Kevin Dotson, that they could not figure out how to work for him. So you know what they did? They ended up getting him, bringing him over, and made him a very productive guard because why? They went to more gap scheme and inside zone stuff. They're like, if you look at Sean McVay, he's one of those types of guys Will just brought out. When he had Gurley, outside zone, bend it back type of play.
Right.
Then he goes and get his quarterback, change the offense to more passing down the field, crossing routes, and now they've transitioned again to their gap scheme and downhill
Kyron
football.
Williams. Yep.
They've changed their offense 3 times and have been very productive in almost every era of it.
Yeah, and they've always had somewhat of a quarterback though too to help that. And I think that's the question here is, with Callahan being new and then he not having his real quarterback yet, as we know, it does kind of put a weird vision of who he really is as a head coach right now. We can't say for sure like he's going to be that guy or he's not. And that's the weird spot they're in though, because they've got to win games and they've got to progress. And that's what's the rock and the hard place for Titans fans right now. There's still a lot of to be determined.
Something came up for Jim Nagy down in Mobile. We're going to try to catch up with him next week.
Oh, okay.
So stay tuned for that. Going to try to get him back on Monday. It is a very busy end of the week, and I imagine Jim is putting out fires consistently.
Yeah, he extends his greatest apologies. Something came up, and he just had to attend to it. It's really tough during game week when all this stuff coming up.
All good. We'll have him after game week.
You mentioned something came up. It's probably more went missing because the players are opting out, and he got to find replacements. He do.
That's right, because they got to play the game.
Exactly. That's the same way it was brought up to me, I think, by Coach Mack. That's why Braden Fisk last year ended up playing for the opposing team that he practiced against.
That's right.
Yeah.
And actually, that helped him out a lot. He did well.
8 sacks later. Not that sacks matter, but the production has been there for him and Jared Verse-Will. I
Spoken like an offensive lineman. Not like sacks matter.
Not sacks.
I win 90% of my plays. I only give up 10% of them, but then those are the ones that make highlights. I mean, you're not wrong.
They are. But there's also, like, who's been the biggest news article to come out from this past week?
Mike Green.
Mike Green.
Mike Green and Jackson Dart, it feels like, are the two headliners out of the Senior Bowl.
Dog, I was watching Jackson Dart.
It's really interesting. I feel like there's a disconnect because it's almost like national media decided that this was when they would start promoting Jackson Dart. Well, he could be QB2, but in reality, Tyler Shuck was better. He's just playing himself maybe from like day 3 to earlier in day 3. So it's not as significant. And he's not a name that people know. Like, people think of Tyler Shuck as a small school guy. Like, Louisville was good last year.
Yeah.
Louisville was a 8-4 program. Their losses were all close. They almost beat Notre Dame.
That's what I'm saying.
They were one of the many teams that probably should have beaten Miami last year.
Sure.
Tyler Shuck's a good player. He's just more of a college football sicko name than the, Jackson Dart, 3-year starter, Lane Kiffin quarterback.
SEC. Throw all of it in there. Like, and again, like,
SEC bias.
Offensive.
I mean, Lane Kiffin was there doing interviews on the sideline.
And then Louisville had an offensive-minded head coach. Like, he checks.
Yeah.
He checks every box, and maybe you say to yourself, well, it's just a Senior Bowl. Well, why are we saying the opposite about Jackson Dart then? I'll be honest, and my eyes aren't as trained as maybe some of these guys that got, real true scouting. I do know ball, but, like, I didn't see what they're saying they saw out of Jackson Dart. I do know this. Agents have people at these networks. Agents have ends with these talking heads. Agents have a lot of folks that they can get and tweet about them. And like Will said earlier, one vacuum-sealed play rep doesn't, to me, show the entire body of work, because we're speaking highly about Mike Green out of Marshall. One play in which he lifted offensive lineman off his feet. One, I could easily correct what that old lineman did and shut him down. And you know what happened the next 3 plays after that?
Shut him down.
Did get shut down. But here's the thing about it. When guys jump off the map like that, teams fall in love because, man, if we can get that consistently every single play, maybe they do. It's all a crapshoot.
So you didn't see the great things that people are saying they saw.
I mean, you kind of
Jackson Dart.
No. They're not. Do I think he can spin the ball? Yeah. Do I think he can go second, third round? Yes. Is he quarterback 2 to me? No. I'm taking the other 2, Shador, Cam, over what he's done. The best thing that he did was go to the Senior Bowl and show that he will and is able to compete. That's what I thought was the best thing that came out of his situation. And, of course, when they pair him up with Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, he looks a lot better
with Jalen Milroe. Jalen wasn't making the throws that Jackson Dart was. So it's easy to say he's better because, I mean, it's somebody, I ain't going to crap on him. But, like, I didn't see that is what I'm saying. It's the same way in day 1 with Mike Green. All I saw him do was just sprint up the field, and you know what a quarterback does in those moments? Step up.
Yeah, right.
I'm naturally a D-line hater, though, when it comes to how I view their tape. So take that for a grain of salt.
Who, in your eyes, came there with all of the accolades and lived up to the hype? Because I think that's another thing that's hard to do sometimes when you come to these things and you're expected to perform, and sometimes you don't.
Oh, and real quick, the Memphis quarterback actually threw pretty good, too. Seth Hennigan. He actually threw good, so I had him in my notes.
He's played a lot of football.
Yeah.
Who came down and lived up to it, Kayla?
Because there's some SEC guys that...
Walter Nolan.
Yeah, he's in there.
Walter Nolan. He absolutely did. If we're talking about probably one of the more sure guys, it would be Walter, for sure.
What do you think about Smail Mondon? Inside linebacker from Georgia, really highly touted player coming out of high school that Tennessee desperately wanted. You could say that about half of the players that are playing in the NFL these days. Tennessee really wanted them. Yeah, well, sometimes they don't want you back. Really, really athletic guy, versatile guy. Those Georgia inside linebackers do a lot of things.
They do.
How closely did you watch him?
I didn't see him per se. He didn't jump out to me. I do know this. The inside linebacker from Notre Dame had a interception against Jalen Milroe. I also thought Virginia Tech had a inside linebacker, Dorian Strong, that was real good in press coverage. So I didn't get a strong opportunity, Will, to be honest with you, to look at the inside linebacker from Georgia. But I did notice the I did notice the inside linebacker from Notre Dame popped off the map, man. I'm getting his name right now. Jack Kaiser.
Yeah, Jack Kaiser. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Jack Kaiser was pretty solid in coverage. And also the Virginia Tech inside linebacker, Dorian Strong.
I don't feel like we've talked enough about the need at linebacker for this Titans
So there's that also.
team, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a huge need.
So coming out of this week and coming out of our conversation with Chad Brinker, I know Ian Rappaport was on NFL Network last night and said that Chad Brinker's generational talent comment raised some eyebrows in NFL circles. Do you come out of this week and really just the resetting of the Titans front office with a strong feeling about what they're going to do with the number 1 overall pick? What does your gut tell you they're going to do if the draft was tomorrow and you had to predict it?
My gut tells me I think they would trade out. Not too far enough because I think they will view themselves as quarterback may go 1 and 2 and then may be able to get a guy like Abdul Carter at 3. I think they're looking for immediate playmakers the same way they did in Kansas City in the first few years of like really righting the ship. I see them going bridge quarterback and potentially taking their time to find the guy. That's the way I see it. Because, again, you hire a coach and then fire people around them, and you have that coach pick a quarterback thinking it's going to work, and his people have removed themselves or were removed, you find yourself in a situation to where you say, this isn't going to work moving forward as far as coach to quarterback. So you want a long-standing coach to find this guy. I'm rooting for Callahan to get wins. He's got to go do that this year.
He's got to do it, yeah.
If he can go get 8 wins next year, then you go get his quarterback. That's the way I view this situation.
And do you feel like there's enough viable bridge options out there? Let's say taking away maybe a Sam Darnold just because of the money and the long-term contract with the other guys that are out there, that could be a possible thing to get that many wins.
Yeah, I think there's some veterans out there. Like, nobody wants to hear. I know you say you don't want Russell Wilson here, but Russell Wilson's a veteran presence, can make it happen for you. I know people brought up Jake Browning. I just don't see that situation happen.
Yeah, he's
Not
still
available.
there for Cincy.
Carr seems the most valid person.
Yeah.
He's got to be available too, though.
And I know people want Justin Fields.
He's still in Pittsburgh, isn't he?
I think so. If
Yeah.
we're talking
They'd pick
about
him over
If they're
us.
saying they're going to pick out of the two of those and want to keep one of the two of them, why would you pick the guy in his late 30s? And who just kind of failed when it mattered, right?
And I think Derek Carr respectfully have enough stench on him to where you can get him for a cheaper price.
And he may not even be available. They may keep him and restructure his deal and figure it out down there in New Orleans. That him and Stafford are the two dominoes that just nobody really knows what their current employers are going to do with them and with their money.
Yeah, because Matthew Stafford said he is going to play still. So
Stafford
that was
did
a
good.
question as if he was going to retire or not. He wants to play.
If you were that old and probably going to a rehab team, what's going to be your number one goal possibly?
Get hurt as quick as possible.
And to that same
get
point,
some money.
Yes, get some money, Bert. IR me and pay me is what I would say.
Interesting. Kayla, what's your gut feeling what they do as of today?
As of today, I mean, I really do feel like if they have a partner, they will trade back. I still think there's an option, though, if they talk to Cam Ward or they continue to fall in love with Shedeur Sanders and they really feel like Brian Callahan can develop him. I say you can't pass one of those up, but it's all about the process of, is this really what they want at quarterback?
So you think they'll trade
There's
back
still
too?
time. Yeah, I think they might, though.
Either one of those two, I think, can fit in multiple offenses. So if they are the guy, you can bring them in. It's just a matter of how many times you're going to switch offenses if there's a ton of losing again.
My gut feeling is Cam Ward.
Yeah.
At this point, it's not really an educated enough guess because it's kind of like guessing how a story is going to end when you're about 10 pages into a 200-page book. There's a lot that still has to happen. But at this point, I'm afraid they're not going to have a partner. I think they would like to trade back. I don't think they're going to be able to as of today. Again, that can change. But
Really good point, though.
I mean, if I'm the Giants, I'm sitting there saying, you said you wanted a generational talent. Like, I can wait for my quarterback. Now, the Jets and Raiders, that's a different conversation. I think the Raiders are going to go after a big swing in free agency at quarterback. I think the Raiders are getting Darnold. That's my guess. Because I think they've got the money and they've got the Brock Bowers and they've got some pieces already in place to be able to chase the QB. and then it's the Jets. I think the Jets at 7 are the team that could make a deal with you. Because I think the Giants might want to stick where they are, but the Jets don't have a lot of money to go sign a QB. And the way that owner is, he wants wins, and he wants them now, and he wants them always, and he wants the quick fix. And I think trading up and being aggressive is the one to watch.
Do you think Rodgers is for sure done there?
Yes.
I think so, too. You willing to get Jameis?
No,
As a
not because
starter?
of the intercept. As a backup, but the interception thing.
Yeah.
You know, as a veteran.
As a radio host, absolutely.
Yeah, as somebody on the team that gives us quality content.
We'll
yes.
bring back player shows of this
Yes.
station. The Jameis Winston
Bring him
show
in as a
Tuesday.
third quarterback. I don't care.
Oh my gosh, I would. Oh,
Ball boy,
I
whatever
would
you want
love
to
it
say.
so much. He would make my day so much happier. Open to your thoughts. Open phone line 615-737-1045. What's your gut feeling, and what do you want the Titans to do with the number 1 overall pick? Your thoughts next. Wrapping up the third hour, the third quarter of your Friday morning RKW, 615-737-1045. Tennessee, Florida tomorrow on the hardwood. We'll dive into that coming up next, as well as a look at the basketball slate that is tremendous. Coming up tomorrow on the Mouse Network on ESPN. And, of course, you'll be able to hear from Ron Slay about that coming up at 9:20. We'll visit with him as we do in every hour 4 on Fridays. It just feels good to talk about, like, football practice. Mm-hmm. Talk about, like, real football.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch
Bert
practice.
is giddy back there. Just giddy.
He is.
I like it when Bert's giddy.
He can't control himself right now.
When you get to ask and be like, hey, what about this guy? Hey, what do you think about this guy? Hey, what about this guy? That time of year for me is so good.
It's very fun.
It pleads to that part of your brain where you got to go, hey, you remember Jeremy Shockey? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The essence of malehood and just sports fandom in general, regardless
Doesn't
of
have
who
to be
you are.
malehood.
That's what I'm saying. Sports fandom in general, no matter who you are, what gender you are, where you're from, is just naming athletes. Naming athletes is the essence of fandom.
Bert, do you actually get to watch, though, any of the Senior Bowl practices? Or do you just pick
I have to go
Ramon's
back.
brain?
Usually there are these errant YouTube accounts that will post the practice stuff, and they'll get taken down. So I have to put like keyword search alerts in, like, hey, so-and-so uploaded Senior Bowl practice tape, and go watch it. My favorite thing to do is when someone says, here is every snap of one-on-one someone took. Here is every snap of run blocking that so-and-so did. And I will just go in and watch. Cheyenne's like, what are you giggling about over there?
You're on the toilet. You're just watching.
Hey, get back in there. We need to watch Traders. I'm like, hold on, baby.
It's like there's a 5'11" center who's 270 pounds. There's no time.
You don't understand. I'm so behind. I had so much time.
Speaking of the name game, you want to hear what's so crazy? There was a group of young scouts, and they are all friends. By the way, don't move the Senior Bowl from Mobile and keep the combine.
Yeah, I heard your rant on that on 3HL yesterday.
Because you can just be out there, and like a random group of like team scouts was walking by. You want to know what they were doing? It was about 7, 8 of them, and dude in the back, I guess, was controlling the school and names, and it was just like, hey, best safety to come out of Georgia. And everybody, it was just like Champ Bailey. And it was just
That's
like,
awesome.
Like, God, they were doing it just then. And it was like to a man, each one was like, Champ. And I was just laughing. Like,
y'all ever do the name game driving? Be like, all right, give me a football player, start with the letter A. Yeah, go all the way through.
Oh, my gosh. Dude.
I know what yours would be.
Oh,
Antonio Brown.
Antonio, no, I wouldn't even think about that.
He was your teammate.
He was.
Respectfully.
AB, man, absolutely. But I did hear a group of guys doing best safety come out of Georgia. It's cool hearing it.
People have started to say on social media they will raw dog a flight by naming as many athletes as they can on a notebook paper.
I heard that.
They don't watch anything. Bert said, my time to shine.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you, give me a notebook. You know what? Next flight. Next flight.
We're going to be talking about Titans legend Jesse Mahalona from the University of Tennessee. Boy, y'all don't know how deep Armand Hall's bag was at the fullback position in the mid-2000s for the Tennessee Titans. We can go shot for shot if we really want to.
Hey, man, we were doing that on failed Vols that had come through there this past weekend. It was like, man, if this guy you remember he had a great freshman year. So many names was dropped, man. Brent,
we want to talk about how good LaMarcus Coker could have been. We can go down that.
Demetrius Morley.
All right, I need everybody.
Keith Richardson.
I need everybody in the F&M Bank chat right now. If you're watching, I need you to just drop the most random football player's name you could think of.
Most random.
Fill the whole chat with just football players' names. I need to see something
real quick. This will go on
real
for the
quick.
rest of the show. It will. Guarantee
What's the most
it.
random one y'all have? Give me a random football player.
I got one.
What you got?
I saw him again this past weekend. Keywan Ratliff, Florida.
Okay. Gator Mike's going to call you up. Oh, I remember him when he was.
Hey, speaking of Gator Mike, I'll go with second least favorite Ravens first-round draft pick of all time, Matt Elam, safety.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most random name I can think of.
Just the first one that pops in that noggin of yours. What do you got?
Don't overthink it. Former FAU Owl Rusty Smith. Tennessee
Former Golden
Titans legend.
Gloves boxer Tom Zabisco.
See, I'm better at this with baseball because
Yeah,
there's
I'm
so
not good
many
at
players
this.
in baseball. Like, if we want to talk about Jared Saltalamacchia.
Oh, now that guy I covered, so I would
There you
say
go.
that guy and be
Yeah.
like, I knew who that was.
Look at these names that are coming through right now, man.
Dexter
Mike in
McCluster.
Cleveland said Dexter McCluster. Boy, I'm still haunted
Wow.
from what he did to Tennessee in 2009. That's not even a random one. In the SEC, that dude was a legend.
That's funny.
Legendary when he played freaking Lane Kiffin. Oh my gosh.
How about
41-14.
Taco Charlton?
Taco Charlton
there
is
you go.
another
There's a
one.
good one.
Yeah.
Taco Charlton.
Yes, man. Jeff Samardzija. Oh my God.
my gosh.
I'm watching him play
The
against you
phenom
too.
from Notre
Yeah,
Dame.
Notre Dame.
Oh, Jeff
Yeah.
Samardzija.
Yeah, man. He was.
Yeah.
He could play baseball.
And he could play. He went to baseball
to
because
baseball,
Inky
yeah.
Johnson put him down. Is what I'm telling you,
crazy.
man.
He got hit by ink and said, "Not for me."
Not
Yeah.
for me, baby. Golly, what a time, man.
We got the F and Big Chat on YouTube. If you want to come in and impress us with your knowledge of random athletes, Philip
It's
Supernaw
going
is
to
a
go
great
on all
one.
game. Oh, that's
Hey,
a good one. Yeah.
Travis Harder, Babs' husband, went Gino Torretta. There's a name. Golly.
What about Tennessee Titans legend Jalston Fowler?
Never heard of him.
Fullback
Jalston
from Alabama. He was a
Fowler.
Vrabel guy. That was not even that old. Jalston Fowler. Oh, yeah.
Do not remember.
I'm just going to name all the
Lloyd.
Titans fullbacks. Kari Blasingame, Vanderbilt's finest.
Aaron Sears popped up on here. Alan Hearns, Jack Youngblood.
What about
Jeez.
Brent Vincent at Tennessee? Anyway,
Brent
we could do this
Vincent.
all day. 615-737-1045.
This is so funny in the chat.
The topic I was going to get to here, by the way, yeah, just call us in. Call in with a random
That's
athlete.
great.
See if you can
John
stump us.
Bryson.
You see, On3 put out an NFL mock draft if every underclassman was eligible. You know who they had the Titans taking?
No, who?
Oh, gosh.
Arch Manning.
Oh,
Arch.
boy.
The Arch.
Could you imagine how triple platinum a Manning Titans jersey would go at fraternity parties in the state of Tennessee at frat parties?
No, it'd be
Let's just
insane.
let him play.
Absolutely
An
not.
Oilers era Manning 16 jersey. All right, I'm getting too many of y'all way too excited. It's Friday. 615-737-1045. We'll look at the hoop slate for the weekend, catch you up on headlines you missed this morning. If you're just starting your day, coming up next.
What's going on? 9:01. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. If you're looking for a fun activity, jump in the F&M Bank chat where everybody is just naming random football players. A lot of fun to have on a Friday. Humor me. Hop into the F&M Bank chat. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham has been designated to return. Graham has been sidelined since late November with a torn triceps and had been hoping that the Eagles would reach the Super Bowl so he would have a chance to play. As he said, this would be his final year in the league. On the season, Graham has 3.5 sacks and a forced fumble. Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford reportedly plans to return for the 2025 NFL season amid contract and retirement speculation. Stafford, who is 36, will need to rework his deal to remain with the Rams as he's currently owed $27 million, none of which is guaranteed in 2025. And Liam Cohen's staff in Jacksonville quickly taking shape as the Jaguars agree to terms with Anthony Campanelli as the defensive coordinator. It is his first NFL DC job for Campanelli, who is most recently with Green Bay as the linebacker coach and running game coordinator. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW 104.5 The Zone into the fourth and final hour on this Friday. Guys, we've got Friday energy for you this morning. It is the Friday of all Fridays. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll be joined by Ron Slay, 3HL and SEC Network. He'll probably make you feel a little bit better about Tennessee basketball. He always does for me, at least. And preview the rest of a basketball slate that is absolutely loaded. Tomorrow, you've got Tennessee, Florida getting the party started at 11 a.m. You have got Auburn visiting Ole Miss. You have got Duke, North Carolina. You've got John Calipari returning to Lexington, where he'll be booed at some point. Maybe not as much as you think, but he'll be booed probably at some point. A great day of hoops, guys.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to the Vols, Florida game. Listen, I'm on a revenge tour. That's all I want to see tomorrow is that game, okay? Nothing else matters to me, and I hope I'm not heartbroken. I might mess around, Kayla, and take a Burt bath is what I'm telling you if it happens.
Wait, what's a Burt bath?
That's a big-ass tub.
When you lose and you sit in the bathtub with the lights
I didn't
off.
know it was using the bird bath in his backyard
No,
No, you just get in that tub and just soak all that sadness out of your body.
yeah.
Go ahead and light a couple towels, get some
I'm
doctor.
a bath girl, so you're talking to the right person.
It's funny. I did that without knowing you also did that when the Braves blew a 3-1 lead to the Dodgers in 2020 and lost the NLCS. I sat in my bathroom with the lights off and not even with the water on. I sat fully clothed in my bathtub and just put my head down and was sad.
Get you some Dr. Teals, get you some
Yeah.
candles
I was gonna
lit.
say.
I didn't even take a bath, though. I just sat there in a dry bathtub.
Yeah, that's a different
lights on.
experience. I feel like Bert's got like the bubble bath or the Epsom salt.
Hey, back in college, I think I was in a bath for like 36 hours one weekend.
Wow.
I brought my TV, my PlayStation. It was sitting on top of the toilet, and I played PlayStation.
You know you did.
My buddy has a picture of it. If it wasn't explicit, I'd share it on Twitter.
Did you have prune fingers?
I was pruned up, but
Yeah, prune everything.
You know, that's that's the good point of a bathtub, though. You know, you stick your toe down there, open up the drain, let some of that cold water out, let some of the warm water come in. I'm renting. I'm in an apartment. I ain't paying the water bill. What do I care how much water we spend? You know what I mean?
Don't at all.
Good point.
Okay.
So we have asked in the last hour of name the most random football player you can think of. And it's gotten the people going. On social media at Ramon Kayla Will. You can tweet at us there, or you can head to 104.5 The Zone TV on YouTube and just comment it there. This might just need to become a Friday tradition of some kind. We give you a segment and we give you a scale of 1 to 10 rating how random your player is. Yeah. To be honest with you, Brian Rice has chimed in on the social media with a picture of Mark Duper, who apparently played for the Miami Dolphins.
If his nickname wasn't Super, what are we doing?
Let's go to the phones. Trey in Lebanon, random athlete, go.
Yeah, blast from the past from Moan Steelers. You got Chris Fuamatu Maafala.
Yes, I do remember
stuck
him.
the
Look at the
landing.
pronouncement.
Look at Trey.
Yeah, way to
Dang.
go.
10 out of 10 out of the gates for Trey in Lebanon.
Trey,
go,
big boy
Trey.
journalist there.
Outstanding.
Yes, that is good, man. I'm seeing Jericho Cotchery pop up in here, man. That gets DeBrickashaw Ferguson always pops up because of
Oh,
the
yeah,
name.
that's been in here a few times.
Always because of the name.
Mm-hmm.
That
My
was awesome.
Lovely fiance Peyton texted me and said, Aaron Rodgers. Peyton, I'm sorry, honey. That's not very random.
Nah, you did a great
She tried.
job, Peyton.
A for effort,
You did a
Peyton.
great job, Peyton.
Love you, but Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. Her family's
awesome.
they're not even a Jets family. They're from New Jersey, but they're a Giants family. Come on, you should have named the
just
Giant.
texted me Tom Brady. Great job, great job, baby. Great job.
Keisha just texted me Ramon Foster.
You are not doing your significant other very
not.
nice here.
I said I love you and said you're very
She know I love her
great
too.
to interact.
The one
Yeah,
name-
that's all right. I'm always nice to Peyton on this show.
The one name that's got me in the chokehold, man, goes to Daniel Craig. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, the law
solid.
firm. That one, I was just like, what
How
an
they
era.
even fit that on the jersey?
The Green Ellis on the back. I mean,
Like
but the
Saltalamacchia,
first
isn't it?
name, Ben
Yeah.
Jarvis? Like, come on. Like, just name him Ben or Jarvis, either one.
Mike in Spring Hill, random football player. Go.
Don Rogers from UCLA. He was drafted number 1 back in by the
Wow.
Cleveland Browns in the early 80s.
Wow. Look at that. Just out of Why
at
do you
Mike.
remember him just
Number
off top?
one.
Because I played high school football against him.
Oh,
There you
that's
go.
There it
There it
is.
is.
There it is,
Thank you,
man.
Mike.
Elite. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Tough. TJ Duckett, another one. Jonathan Dwyer, golly. Tyrone Calico. Listen to
There's
these
some
names.
booty names in here too.
Like who?
General
Hello?
Booty. General Booty, John
General?
David Booty.
Okay.
So
Are they related?
Booty, but I don't know, but that's a really weird name to be having, so frequently in football. It's random.
Absolutely. Jeez, what a day. Philip Lindsay.
I had to get this Ben Jarvis
like
Green
Phil
Ellis
Lindsay.
stat in here. It's like if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, every time Aragorn kicks that helmet, you have to tell somebody, he broke his foot in that shot. Anytime somebody talks about Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, I have to remind everybody that he had 589 touches to start his NFL career before he fumbled.
Did he really?
He had the longest streak or active streak in the NFL for a long time, and I think the first fumble he had, I believe, was against the Steelers. I've got to check that.
It's fitting.
During his time with the Patriots, he never fumbled the ball.
So what's his stat line, like yards or whatever? Like, he's got to have at least 6,000 if he got that many touches.
Let me check it out. Hold on. Man.
I
Look,
mean,
Tyler Dial and I were on the same page. Speaking of booty, Jake Butt. We literally put it in the chat.
You're really
at the same
focused on
time.
these booty names.
I mean, yeah, it's different. I mean,
Not for Jake Butts too, because he was a tight end, so
Yeah,
it kind of
from
makes
Michigan.
sense for him.
So
Out of
let's
Michigan, right?
put a Titan spin on this, and I'm curious if you guys can beat the F&M Bank chat
okay.
to name me the leading rusher of the Tennessee Titans in 2015 who had 520 rushing yards. 520 rushing yards. This was a random athlete I was going to name.
oh gosh.
I'll give you a couple seconds, then I will give you the school that he went to. If you still need it, I don't know if that's going to help, to be honest with you.
What was the year again?
2015 Tennessee Titans leading rusher who had 520 rushing yards that season. This was the year before DeMarco Murray was brought to town.
LeGarrette Blount?
No. LeGarrette Blount only was in camp here. He never actually played a regular season game for
Was
the
it the
Titans.
crappy second-round pick?
No, it was not Bishop Sankey.
Okay.
You guys did
Bishop
not beat the
Sankey
F&M
from
Bank chat
Washington.
on YouTube. You've already been beaten.
What is it?
Western Kentucky's Antonio
Oh.
Andrews.
Never would have known that.
Mm-hmm.
Never would have known that.
Antonio Andrews. He was like a fourth-round pick,
Double
I
A,
want to say.
huh?
Goodness.
Yeah,
I
fourth-round
wouldn't
pick.
have known.
Really wish I knew what I was talking about. I'm just kidding. To quote the great Coach Dave McGinnis. He was the guy, 2015.
Antonio Andrews got 4 years out of this thing, too.
Uh-huh.
From Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
That's right.
I feel like the Titans have had a few of those running backs too, even recently, where you see him at other places now too.
Ooh, how about
very
Minnesota's
Yeah,
finest,
yeah.
David Cobb at running back for another Tennessee Titans running back pick.
It's a good salad.
Or
David Cobb?
David Cobb. This is insane, though. Rod Smith, another one. Jeez.
I'm
London
telling you, this
Fletcher.
will go to the end of the show. There's no
And I
way
love
this is
it.
stopping.
And I love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely love
there's
it.
no way this is stopping.
I absolutely love that. Darrington Evans.
Darrington Evans. Yeah, JL, that's a good
Another
one
one.
for a former
He's a
running
third-round
back.
pick. He's recent.
Exactly. Random.
Video game superstar, Darrington Evans, who is known more for that than he was football.
Right.
Joe in Bowling Green, up next. What's up, Joe?
Hey, guys. I know you're on this topic, and his running backs, but Carl Klug.
Carl Klug.
Yeah. Carl Klug.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's come up a couple times for sure.
The pride of Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys, Bert said you talked a little bit about the East-West game last night. Did you see the interception that Pagee made, the one-handed interception that J.J. Pagee made from Mississippi? Did you see that?
No, but he is, that dude is an athlete.
Yeah, he made a one-handed interception, ran the ball down the sidelines. I mean, it reminded you of the Sweat thing interception.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you remember that?
No, didn't I say I'm looking that one up right now? Definitely.
Did you talk about the new Cooper Kupp?
Who's your new Cooper Kupp?
The kid from Eastern Washington that broke all his records at Eastern Washington, Efton Chisholm. The guy was impressive last night. He returned kicks. He was like a Mason Kinsey on steroids.
And there's not a lot going good for that program right now, so that's good that they have him coming out.
And you know
really
ball. I
know you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had this running back from New Mexico that didn't play at Arizona. I never even heard of the kid. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, never even heard of him.
Well, man.
I mean, he lit it up last night. I don't know if you saw him or not.
I have to go back and look at that. It sounds like you and Robert Walsh are really good friends.
Right?
You naming names that only he would know.
Yeah, we've been looking for a draft analyst. Joe in Bowling Green. Call it anytime.
Way to go, Joe.
I love it.
Our guy, Joe.
Antonio Andrews, not a draft pick. That's a demerit on me. I was getting him confused with David Cobb. He was undrafted.
Okay.
Rhett Bryan has written in, listening, texts me and says, Titans running back Leon Washington.
Leon Washington.
Strong.
When was that?
That's a good question.
Dang.
I don't know. Chris Brown, another Titans running back that was mentioned. He was good.
Tommy Campbell, what a dog.
He was very good. All right, rapid fire before we get to Ron Slay on the other side. Chad and McMinnville, go.
Here we go. We see this guy every year when the anniversary of the Music City Miracle comes up. He's leading the way. Number 35, Perry Phoenix.
Ooh. Very nice, Chad.
Chad,
good one.
Perry Phoenix. Rising from the ashes of our memory.
Before we go back to the phones, Lucas wants to get a celeb shot.
Denarius Moore.
Oh, Denarius Moore, number 6. Yes. It's a good wide receiver.
He was. He was good for the Raiders, man.
Very solid.
God.
Man, I know I already said his name, but I think of what could have been with LaMarcus Coker all the time. We all have that one player in our minds that didn't make it because they got in trouble, they got hurt, or that just didn't work for whatever reason. He is the one that lives rent-free in my brain for the Vols perspective.
Mine is Demetrius Morley.
Oh, yeah.
See, this is a whole nother naming
That's
segment.
a whole different game, I know.
We need to do this
the
in the
Derrick
summer.
Rose Memorial, what could have been athlete naming game.
Every Friday, just name game. Different name game.
Don't even go to your hometown, okay? Manny Green, basketball star at Ripley High School, never could get into college. Manny Green.
No.
Just random, man. God.
How about HaHa Clinton Dix?
Yep.
Hey, I thought the world was crashing down when the Ravens drafted Marlon Humphrey over him. I thought the world was about to end.
Yeah. Coming up next, Ron Slay will join us. I know he'll have some random names for us. He might have some basketball ones, like Emmanuel Nagadu, Tennessee basketball legend.
I don't even know that.
Get your numbers up. Ron Slay joins us next.
Hey guys, ladies, homeowners, man, I'm getting ready to talk to you right now. All right, you know who you are. You're the ones that walk around your yard every day getting mad when you see weeds. You obsessively care about your grass. A lot like me. Your spouses and friends tell you that you talk about your grass more than you talk about anything, even your kids at times. All right, you want to be the envy of your neighbors. Listen. Secure Lawn is a company that you want to call. If you want a company who will be there for you year after year, it's Secure Lawn. If you want a lawn company that is not getting sold, it's Secure Lawn. What I mean by that is they are here. They're embedded in this community here, all the way up north to south, east to west. They got you covered. Secure Lawn creates lifelong customers by providing them a prime service. And you're probably wondering, what does that mean? It means having a team members properly trained and prepared to provide a prime service, supplying customers with expectations that will make them lifelong customers like me. Secure Lawn isn't a bunch of sale either. No way. Their business model includes never giving the customers a reason to leave. That's how they roll. Right now, it's time to be applying crabgrass and broadleaf weed control to your lawn, and they are the people to call. You got to reach out to them. There's no better company. So go ahead and get a start on your yard right now by calling Secure Lawn. The number is 615-893-8455, or simply use that phone of yours and go to securelawn.com.
RKW on 104.5 The Zone, and the F&M Bank chat is lively this morning. 615-737-1045. We've been naming random football players, and you guys know ball. You can head over to YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch. Hit the comment section and submit your best one. Maybe we give our favorites that we've seen at the very end of the show.
Yeah.
But we will move on now, at least here on the radio signal. 2 more calls quickly before we get to Ron Slay, who we are expecting imminently. 2 more calls on random athletes. John in Columbia, you're first. What's up?
All right, I got one for you, Ramon. Quarterback legend Charlie Batch.
Yes,
Ooh,
sir.
yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Solid.
And also, just curious, in your entire career, there was only 8 different quarterbacks that got a start for Pittsburgh. Can you name those?
8
and
different,
I'll hang up and listen.
8 different quarterbacks that got to start.
Putting you on the clock.
Look at John.
Ben, Byron Leftwich, Charlie Bash, Dennis Dixon, Mason Rudolph, Landry Jones, Devlin Hodges.
One more. Dobbs never started.
Michael Vick.
There you go.
Boom. Wow.
Look at that.
You a bad dude.
Bone was not messing around with that one.
You know who was also a bad dude? Charlie Batch. He was so bad that I thought that the Ravens were going to win when Big Ben was out one week. I was like, oh, man, I can't wait. Finally an easy Steelers game. Oh, thank you. And then Charlie Batch whooped our ass. He whooped our ass.
We did.
I love it.
We did, man.
Aaron
Awesome.
in Jacksonville gets the final random athlete. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'll be real quick. I got one non-Titan, Darius Hayward Bay, wide receiver from Maryland.
Raiders legend.
And then two quick Titans. I got Senderick Marks and Jason Babin.
Senderick Marks and Jason Babin, 2 linemen. Senderick Marks, an Auburn legend. I think he blocked a kick to beat the Texans in Houston one year, if I'm not mistaken. Senderick Marks. It was like his one big play for the Titans.
Yeah, that's huge right there, man. Jacksonville also is where he was for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
Jason Babin and I share the same birthday.
Do you really? I remember Babin.
I was not a big fan of him. It looked like the kind of guys that my mom used to be into when she was in her single phase. When I
thought that was Jerry.
No, I mean, Jerry was the one who held her down, but she was into more like the Jason Babin types, like the tribal tattoos and stuff. I was not a really big Jason Babin fan just because he reminded me of my mean stepdaddy, Randy.
I wasn't Senderick. It was someone else. I called my shot there.
Oh, goodness.
I remember Senderick, though.
I do too, man. You know how somebody always has a crush on a person, like a player?
Yeah.
No matter how bad
they are.
how short their career was, Robert Walsh has his one.
What is it?
Dree Archer.
I love him. I love him so good. What's Dree Archer doing now, man? I'd buy a house from him. I'd buy an insurance plan from him. If he has one fan, it is me. If he has no fans, I am dead.
He's only 33 too, which is crazy.
Yeah, like Antonio Andrews is only 32.
Yeah.
The Western Kentucky guy who led the Titans in rushing in 2015.
We make them sound like they're 50.
I know. It's because they get out of the league and then they disappear. It's like, it's been that long.
Dree Archer is a personal trainer. You think he could whip me into shape?
Hey, he got to get Ron Slayer's 40 time down. I'm sure he can do that.
Hey,
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, man. Look, I got some quick knees out here. I still got young knees. You hear the jiggle in my voice when I broke down
were you
like
just
that?
doing high knees?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Look, hey.
Speaking of like quick knees, y'all, I almost like face planted in Mobile in the worst way ever.
On the field?
You know their sidewalks, right? In Mobile, like the trees grow underneath the sidewalks and push concrete up.
The roots come up.
I'm finding directions to a place. And I'm walking with Rob Ayers, my homeboy, to this place, Wenzel's, down there, okay? As I'm walking, I look down at my phone. It's like, turn right at the light. And I'm like, all right, how far are we up? I look down at my phone, and I'm talking about my right big toe hit this sidewalk that was lifted up, and I probably tumbled, almost landed on my face about 8 to 12 yards, just running, arms behind me, trying to catch my back.
Like you're a dang anime character.
I would love to have seen that.
Ramon going Super Saiyan on the sidewalk.
How did you catch yourself?
All I remember was Rob pulling his phone out, waiting for me to hit the ground. Had I hit the ground,
like a real one?
Oh my God, he wasn't worried about me staying up. I'd have hit my shoulder, I'd have broken it. I would have landed on my face. It was by far, listen, put your phones down and
Yes.
walk. Is what I'm telling you.
That music is for Ron Slade, who just walked into the
Texting
studio.
and walking, or texting and or walking in directions.
So maybe
or
we
whatever.
should have a tradition on this show where anytime someone new calls in, they have to name a random athlete.
I like this. I like this. I'm jumping straight in. I like this one.
Let's go.
Slade
Man,
up.
first and
Slay
foremost.
knows ball, so he's ready to go.
Nah, we going. Thank you, Drew.
Yeah, I got you.
We going. We staying right there with football, man. Listen,
I love it.
man. Mine was E.G. Green. Man, E.G. Green, man. Florida State wide receiver, man, was cold blooded. Ronald Dugans was another one.
Ronald Dugans.
That's another one, man. I've been waiting. I've been waiting. I was in the car like,
is
man,
a crazy pull.
And he was
Where
cold.
Dugans at? They don't make Dugans
They
no
don't
more.
make Dugan. He was the only one I can find. Hey, guess what, though? It's really cold when you go basketball. See, this for my real Nashvilleians out there, man. We used to have something here called the Midnight League. You know what I'm saying? So while we was in high school, you know, guys that maybe dropped out, had some misfortunes or something, it was a league for them to play in. They used to have it at Pearl. So they used to crank up about 8:30 or 9. Dog, when I say shout out to legendary Dante Jones. Dante was in it for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we had a dude named Pocket Change.
Pocket change.
With a name like Pocket Change, you better be
and
a
guess
hooper.
what? I'm talking about they showing up with Pocket Change out west, baby. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Gonna rip you.
Yeah.
Go get in your pockets, take your change, and go, probably about 5'10".
Yeah.
And go boom.
He go bam, man.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, man. Big Mario. I forgot Mario's last name, but Big Mario was another one. Hey, dog. There's some names out there. There's some names out there.
Absolutely love it.
So cold,
Hey, man. Boy, there was my boy name, the coach at Meatloaf, Big Meatloaf. Big Meatloaf over there coaching at Hillsborough now, man. Shout out to him. Yeah, so here's some names, dog. Here's some names.
What was Boo's name from UT, the D tackle?
Big
Rashad.
Rashad. Yep, Boo Boo Mo. Rashad Boo Boo Mo. Rashad had a nice little stint in the league.
He
About
did.
4-5
He was
years.
the first dude to let me know I could play in the league.
That's all you
wasn't
need.
for a good thing.
And that's all you need.
No,
That's
it was in that summer. It was in the summer. He came back and he wanted to get a one-on-one, and
That's
I
when you
got a
realize.
one-on-one.
Yeah, that's when you realize.
That's when I knew I belonged.
That's all you need.
Well, we'll bring it full circle with someone who played football and basketball at Tennessee, Melvin Goins, as we talk a little bit.
Man, he's coaching now.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's coaching. God, he's is it Power 5? It might be right there, Power 4, or right there on the cusp of going Power 4.
I remember when he switched to a DB. He was a point guard. They started playing DB for football.
It's been a cup, man. I think Tennessee may have, but it's a dude from LSU now. Man, what's his name? His first play, he got in, got a steal, and got a dunk. The tight end for LSU.
Oh, wow.
Just recently. I forgot his name, man. Some Green, if I ain't mistaken. I
know
might
what
be
you're talking
wrong.
about. Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, it's
Melvin Goins is at BYU?
I told you.
Wow.
Assistant. Yeah. And this is I think this is the second year. No, straight
Climbing
up.
up.
Good for him.
And this the other thing. Man,
Come on with
You
it,
came in here
Savage.
ready to go on
ready to
stuff
go.
that we were supposed to talk about, and now we got you on other stuff, too.
see, and it is Green, the tight end for LSU that
Trey Green.
Trey
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
cool, nice.
And athletic.
Athletic.
Got that rip, man. I mean, when he went down, he Pokemon that thing down there. You hear me? So,
Can we do what a Pokemon is?
You just know.
You just
know.
You poke at
If you got to catch him, then you know.
You catch him, you go get, you pick and choose you want to. This is man. Speaking of Melvin Goins, dog. First of all, I love my university, man. Tennessee, man, all through and through. But it's the only school that I can remember in the SEC that doesn't have somebody that was a former player on the staff.
Okay.
And I bring that up because I was trying to knock down that door. So all y'all that keep on hitting me in the DMs and text messages and all kind of things. Slay, why don't you start coaching? Savage. How long was I beating down that door? I mean, from the what?
Lucas Campbell's the only one that played that's on Tennessee's staff, and he was a walk-on. I know. Wow. I know.
Lucas is my guy.
I know.
Lucas is
Is that truly
Lucas.
a thing that they don't like?
I know
or
what
is
you
it-
mean.
Go through the roster.
You got to have a liaison, Kayla.
Go through the roster.
Because Bobby Mays is up there. He's not on staff, but he's an AAU guy that's connecting dots. And D-Stone he knew in high school and all these things.
Oh, that's cool.
But we're talking about different things, though.
You got a letter.
I mean, we can start petitioning here anytime.
I'm saying, but I say all that to say, man, golly, dog, it's different when you can bridge that gap. Even from Mississippi State, they got an old head that was on there. He played in the 70s, but everybody know him. You feel what I'm saying? So it's
for sure.
I say that to say, man, y'all can quit messaging me about that. You know what I mean? I like my little media entertainment lane that I'm in right now. Now, if it come up in a head job or something, I go run a program into the dirt. You know what I mean? I'll put us on all kind of little sanctions and everything if that's what y'all want. You know what I mean? But it's gonna be a hell of a year.
You can have a cookout all you want to.
I'm gonna take it to another level. I'm gonna take it to another level. Money from the falling from the ceiling when we hit threes or something. It's gonna be real.
I gotta ask you because Nashville's got so many. Somebody was telling me earlier, like Nashville's got so many legends that you just know of.
Yeah.
Give me one or two high schoolers you thought was going to make it that you say nobody knows them because they didn't go to college. Mine is Emmanuel Green.
I heard you when you said
Manny Green could jump through the roof.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, his son is gonna be a problem.
See, they always do right by the kids. I love it.
Yeah, the offensive. I think he's offensive tackle. This my guy. When they come up and people talk about like who is somebody that you looked up to, or it was like, dang, man, I got to go against him tonight. You know what I mean? And he went to college. He ended up going to Austin P. But James Stewart played at Whites Creek. James Little Man Stewart, dog.
Absolutely.
Hey, dog. When I say a dog, man, I'm telling you, when I used to go up against him, I used to be like, damn, man, this dude here, dog. Like he was from all three levels. 3-pointer, mid-range, post up, and gonna poke that thing on you. You hear me? Yeah. Pokemon backwards. You know what I mean? Gangster leaning with it. Like anything you want to do. Hey, man, Whites Creek, man, there was no question. Mm-hmm. Come on, Randy.
Randy boy.
That's what it was. Stand up with the president. They said they won't bring me on. I didn't want to bring me on staff, y'all. I appreciate y'all looking out, y'all. I'm out of here. James Little Man Stewart, that's what made it was already a rivalry with Pearl Cone and Whites Creek. But dog, he was the man.
Legends played those games.
I thought we could call him Hyman. Man, I thought Hyman was going to the league.
Really?
Like that was like, wow. Another dude, Charles Hathaway. I'd never seen anything on earth like this man. 6'10", could shoot threes, would jump a foot from in front of the free throw line at 6'10".
Wow.
Dog, when him and Big John used to go at it.
Yeah. Just move over.
Big Joe, good battle, man, but you don't want none of this.
The one that's really heartbreaking was Tito Lee in the late 90s.
Oh, that
who passed away before he went to college and was going to go to Tennessee.
If you don't know that story,
it's heartbeaking. It's heartbreaking.
Man, I don't even know. I don't know how to tell it. You know what I mean? Like it's go look it up, man.
Okay.
It's
was going to go to Tennessee.
Linebacker.
He was fullback at Brentwood Academy.
What's
on
the full name?
That 96, those mid-90s BA teams that are seen as the best of all time in the state of Tennessee, where like every starter was going to a D1 power school or like a local school.
Oh my God!
When you had to shiver, when you would shiver about walking down Granite White Pike.
He had 21 touchdowns as a fullback his senior year. Yeah, he was
savage.
Don't go down.
It's a really sad story.
Dude,
Don't
that's
go down
a wild story.
Hey man, I'm telling you, dog. Like you hit it on the head.
Yeah.
Nashville got so many of them, man.
Most dominant high school player I ever saw in this area was what did you say?
Eric Cookie Lock.
Yeah,
was another one.
It's a different era. It's more modern era, and the guy was just playing in the NFL. But Corn Elder is forever the most dominant player I've ever seen in Tennessee high school football.
Yeah,
ever.
Corn was.
You knew they were. It was single back. That back would line up 7 yards back behind the quarterback. Everybody and their mama knew Corn Elder was getting the ball up the middle, and you could not stop it.
Nothing you
and
can
those
do.
BA teams had NFL players. You had Jackson Pittman, who played for Navy. You had Derek Barnett. You had Graham Schuler went to Stanford. You had Jalen Ramsey, C.J. Sanders, a Florida quarterback, Max Stavert. Didn't matter. They had Corn Elder. Didn't matter. NBA had Ty Chandler. I mean, that didn't matter.
Corn could go. They could go on. They could go on offense and say it's a turnover or Corn don't get the first down. They got a punt. He'd go right out there and say, "Y'all hold on, we gonna get it back." And he would go strip the ball, take it, And if he don't score, they get the ball back.
What?
There's no
Up the
ifs, ands, or
middle.
buts.
No
question.
Corn left or corn right?
No question.
They would wear corn heads.
No
like
question.
Nebraska fans have those foam corn heads they wear at games.
And then win basketball and killed.
Yeah, he did.
And winning basketball.
Dude was a stud.
Corn was
Forever the
different.
best, most dominant high school athlete I've ever seen.
Corn was tough.
I'm not that
Brandon
old,
Miller
but-
can't hold the legend up.
Different because Corn did it in both.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Different
Okay.
because he did it in both.
That's crazy.
Man, we are so off track, but it's been good. I ain't mad about it.
This is it. Yeah.
That's dope.
Slay,
Because we're talking about
Tennessee.
people that didn't really.
Go. Right.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah.
Slay, Tennessee is looking for a get back tomorrow
Yes, they are.
against Florida. The desperation Kentucky showed trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah.
It's real.
It is real.
Tennessee needs to have that level of energy. This is a challenging matchup for Tennessee, who's got 2 scholarship big men, and Florida has got about 6 of them.
And hand-logged and maybe
It's not an
back.
excuse. It's just the matchup.
It is the facts. Like when this Florida team that's coming into Knoxville is way more potent than the team that Tennessee went down and faced in the swamp early in the year. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. They got beat by 30 and a drubbing down there.
Yeah.
Like it could happen again up here. It's that like the league is that potent now. They're gonna be at home, so I don't think that could happen.
Yeah.
But dog, when you talk about the interior depth that they have, Handlocked and broke his leg last year in the SEC tournament, and I thought kind of stunted their growth in the tournament as far as the run they could have went on. He could be back. There was already rumors that he's been practicing. He could have possibly came back last week, but you already add to that depth that they got already. They got gorillas down there already.
Yeah.
You've been add another one. So Will Lee ain't lying about that. Then the guards.
Yeah. Whatever
Elijah
they want to
Martin,
do.
Walter Clayton Jr., Will
Athletes
Richards.
everywhere.
They just Aberdeen coming out there. They are one of the deepest, if not the deepest team in the SEC. And that's including Alabama, Auburn. Auburn is about 9 deep. They may be 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And that's the reason that the coach had a little situation.
Yeah.
That's why.
No.
They don't care.
Yeah, put your head down. Let's go grind.
Wow.
Slay, you talk about it all the time. Like basketball is a matchup sport.
Absolutely.
It's not like football where you've got 22 players that can impact the game at any given day. You got 5. Tennessee's got 8. I mean, some teams got 10.
Yeah.
Tennessee could not get past Mississippi State because that was the nightmare matchup for them last season.
Yep.
Is Florida the blueprint of that kind of kryptonite team for Tennessee this year?
It could be because of the physicality that they bring and the length. And I mean that from the guards. Like the Walter Clayton Jr. is 6'4", like playing the point. You know what I'm saying? And there's no drop off at the 2, then the 3, so forth and so on. And they're athletic. Like they know how to play basketball, like really, really well. And they are up in your face in the way the league is playing right now. This physicality is there. So it can wear you down. And I think when you look at Tennessee being a team that has been struggling from outside, like that don't bode well. Them long rebounds from the missed threes, Florida is out of there. And they're not just trying to, they're going to be like Kentucky. Kentucky was running to the 3-point line. That's what Florida will be doing as well. So I think it's going to be some self-check time in this little gap right here to see exactly who they are. The disrespect of the way they've been defended. At some point as a competitor, you got to say, no, this ain't gonna work. I'm finna do something different. Like I'm going to score. It's not the coach's fault. It's not the assistant's fault. It's not the trainer. It's not the strength coach telling you not to shoot. It's not the offense. Y'all have 8 players. I don't give a damn if you can't shoot. Shoot. You know why? Because you're coming out regardless if you don't like it anyway. And guess what? You're gonna have to go back in. Y'all only got 8. You only got 8. And so the people that was out there saying, man, why would you keep shooting so many threes? What do you want me to do? Drive into the chest of somebody and throw up something crazy like Igor did against Auburn when you should have kicked it to the sky at the top? You know what I'm saying? It's open threes. Just make the shots. 33 uncontested 3-pointers. Y'all can give us that in here and we can go at least 11.
Yeah.
They went 8 for 33. Yeah, uncontested mean you're not in my vicinity.
It's an open shot for the most part.
And these are good 3-point shooters is the puzzling thing about it. Like Darlin Stone-Dubar was a 37% 3-point shooter at Hofstra last year. He made, 6 threes at Duke last season? Igor Milicic is a 40% 3-point shooter at Charlotte. Like, these guys didn't just forget how to shoot.
Right. What are we talking about? Like, that's the thing. So when people are saying, they took 5, 6 threes the last 3 minutes, So they were open.
Make them.
The game of basketball is as simple as this. We're trying to get the best shot available. If that's an open three to where the game is going, you don't have a guy like Grant Williams. You put it on the elbow and say, go to work.
Right.
JP Estrella's out, everybody. Cam Carr's gone, everybody. Like, what you want him to do?
More SEC hoops with Ron Slade coming up next. A crazy slate of college basketball tomorrow. We'll dive into more with Slade after this. Hey, it's Will Bowling here from my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center who provide you sound solutions. They're going to help you realize what sounds you have been missing, and they have the best technology on the market to do exactly that, including a revolutionary new hearing aid, the Phonak Sphere, which is dedicated to helping patients hear well in situations when there is extensive background noise. With a computer chip completely dedicated to address speech and noise, the Phonak Sphere will help you when you're out to dinner at a noisy restaurant, visiting with friends or clients at a cocktail party, or even when you're at a sporting event and there's a lot of discussion going on around you. You want to hear the person next to you, not the person behind you. Check them out online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com or give them a call, 615-377-0420. Again, that's online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Let them give you a demonstration of this industry-changing hearing aid technology, which also connects directly to your smartphone and your television. 615-377-0420. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. Wrapping up the show, a fun Friday on RKW. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Ron Slay in studio. This last hour has been a blast.
It has.
Good times,
really
man. Good
Still
times.
talking off air about it, man.
Yeah, it's real, dog. I got to bring up one more name, Will Lee.
Hit me.
Maplewood High School, my homeboy, first of all, Carlos Watkins was another one. There, you never hear of Santonio Beard if Carlos Watkins don't go down and break his ankle. Never hear of Santonio Beard at all. And that was, you talking about a dog. Santonio was a dog. But Karan Key from Maplewood, linebacker, running back, the first guy that I ever saw. When you're running the ball, he's not going to tackle you. But if he do tackle you, going to knock your head off. But he's not trying to tackle you. He's going to take the ball from you. He's going to hold you up while you're running and take the ball.
Before the peanut punch.
Dog, before that, dog, it was, man, Karan Key, legend. Oh, my gosh, dog. You talking about Ray Lewis and all. Karan Key, man, was the mold.
Real quick, tell the Coach Fitzgerald one real quick. I thought that was hilarious.
Man, listen,
about knowing when is your time.
Yeah. When you know it's your time, you know it's your time. So early on, and I was talking about, Will Lee brought up BA, and Will said this was before the public-private split. That's what made football and sports so cold. You know what I mean? You had to match up against everybody, and the division wasn't no 7 A's and all this stuff.
5 state titles given out every year.
You got to go get it. So we went down there. They went down there to play Brentwood Academy, and everybody, this younger class, Carlos Watkins, Buck Fitzgerald, John, all these guys were younger. You know what I'm saying? So they went down there, and he was like, man, so Brentwood Academy came out. They've been on a real weight program. Jacked up, you know what I mean? Delts popping out their shoulder pads, got mustaches and beards and this, that, and the
rolls.
other. Yeah, neck rolls. They ready to roll. Tuck jerseys. Man, about 2 years later, came back. Coach Fisher told him, hey, y'all, I tell you what, we came down here a little while ago. We wasn't quite ready. Now you look at us. Hell, look at Carlos Watkins over there. He got a beard bigger than mine now. Now we got the mustaches and the beard. Hell, look at Gates. Gates got his jersey tucked up and don't even fit. Like, let's go out and go get it. Hey, man, it was different, dog. Hey, Coach Fitzgerald, I'm talking about the best motivator. Man,
That's
people
cool.
look at Bruce Pearl and the stuff that he does.
Oh, yeah.
This man, Coach Fitzgerald, been doing that, boy. It was different. I'm telling you.
What year would that have been?
That would have probably been 96, 95, 96.
That's what I was thinking. Because that 96 BA
I'm going to
team,
get some texts from
the
just a second.
95, 96 BA teams are often considered like the best ever in Tennessee because
There
they
you
went
go.
15-0 both those seasons.
Yeah.
I think it would have been 97. I don't know. We'll talk on fair.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I could go, you know, I could go down this rabbit hole all day long. I love it.
Awesome.
All right. But where do we even go?
Basketball.
We have so little time. You want to talk about
places.
Kayla? You take it.
I want to take it somewhere last
Talk
night
to me,
because I want to
KK.
give the women's side some love. Michaela
Oh, my God.
Blake's last night for Vanderbilt scoring record.
53 points.
Dude, give
God.
her props when they're due.
I tell you what.
This is an outstanding story.
I'll tell you what, KK, y'all just wait for the sleigh ride. Y'all just wait for the sleigh ride. It's dominated already by 3 women.
Heck yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Michaela Blake's is one. Michaela Williams is another. She went bananas for LSU. And then Kim Caldwell will be on there. So I don't know what the fellas going to do come tomorrow to get on the sleigh ride, but I got to show so much.
Bet on them Kaylas.
96 was the year, too. I told you I was going to get the text.
96, okay.
96 was the year, the year when they went back down there. But, man, KK, this 53 points, dog, I don't know if people understand, like, what level you have to be playing that to do that on the road and get the win, and you're a freshman.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Like, we talking about the Juju Watkins and the Kaylin Clarks and all. Like, that's the realm you're automatically in. And you now have a new budding star in the SEC. Whether you like it or not, Flajan and what they doing, tremendous. What Don Staley doing in South Carolina, great. Kim Caldwell, love it. Shay Ralph got one.
Yeah.
Shay Ralph got one. Like, it is. And that ain't talking about Camille Pierre that's on Vandy team too. That's a dog, sophomore.
She went in.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a freshman, y'all.
Good stuff, man.
And was efficient. This wasn't her just gunning. Like, she was efficient. Like,
Yeah.
man, cold, man.
By the way, was it Darius Horton said that was a spot-on impression of Coach Fitzgerald.
And I wish I could use the locker room language. Like this is, I'm telling y'all, this is a God-fearing man. You know what I mean? Can go stand in the pulpit and move souls. And Coach Fitzgerald, but he also tear the paint off the wall too. Come in there on Friday to get you ready to go. Yeah, hey boy, I'm telling you now. Hey, man, that's a different man right there.
Real quick, Arkansas, Kentucky, what do you expect out of those two teams?
Man, I heard y'all talking about it, man. Arkansas, Kentucky, I expect, this is an old school rivalry anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I expect them, just because Cal walking in there to boo the hell out of them. Like, it ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, this man walking in there, yeah, he won a national title in there, all that, but that can come 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now when y'all hang his jersey up there with the other great coaches, with Tubby Smith, Coach Pitino, because he was great, but he coming in there with Arkansas, the ones that Nolan Richardson them put up out of there, man, the national championship, the same crazy fan base with that bankroll up there, man, y'all better boo the hell out of Arkansas and Cal. There's a reason Miss Cal staying home.
Oh, she's staying home?
Who is she?
She under the weather.
Really quickly, and I'm glad you're here for this. For some breaking news in Knoxville. Okay. New video board and courtside seat additions to be made to Food City Center.
Finally,
new jumbo
get on the wood, man.
There you go.
Wait till y'all hear that promo they put out.
What?
Is there somebody?
That is the show.
Is there somebody?
That is your show today. We are out of time. The Buck Rising Show is coming up next. You'll get more of that tea from Ron Slay 3 to 6 today. Slay, good to see you, sir. That was fun.
No doubt, that was beautiful.
That was fun.
Hey,
man.
summertime, I need an hour and a half or two.
Yeah.
Starting at 8:45.
You know where to find us. Ramon, take it away.
Y'all know how it is on Friday. All this reflecting and build up we've been having, man, these good memories. Y'all know how it goes, man. Make it back to us on Mondays. Call somebody you ain't talked to. Hug somebody. Buy somebody a random drink. Have a random conversation with somebody, man. But at all costs, man, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.